supporters of the FA Cup.
One down, two to go. Before Barcelona comes the FA Cup final. The Toon Army are back for the second successive year, determined to go home with something to celebrate this time. Wouldn't the Geordie nation love him if they did?
Some dreams live on in time forever. Those dreams
We're at Wembley for the showpiece of the English football season. Live here on Sky Sports 2, it's the AXA-sponsored FA Cup final. For the first time in the history of this wonderful competition, it's a game between two Uniteds, Manchester and Newcastle. United in a common aim today to give us something to remember the last final of the millennium by. Well, there were times this season when they said that the big boys weren't too interested in this competition anymore. No sign of that when United and Arsenal crashed into each other at Villa Park and Ryan Giggs scored that fantastic goal. No sign of apathy out here either. This is still a very special day out. Well, if you like what we do, stay exactly where you are. This is the sort of occasion that we absolutely love. We're here for the next 6 hours at least. Depends what happens out there today, but the FA Cup will be won here. Maybe at the end of 90 minutes, maybe at the end of extra time, maybe after a penalty shootout. We've got the top team on duty, commentary from Andy Gray and Martin Tyler. There's tickets to win to England's Euro 2000 qualifier here in a fortnight's time against Sweden, and you can choose.
Well, there are all sorts of great free kicks, you know that. I've opted for 3 here. They're all not similar, but each one has power, each one has pace, each one has accuracy. What you need for a good free kick. In third place was Ibrahim Bakayoko's free kick for Everton against Bristol City. And it really was a beauty at a crucial time in this match. You can see how far out he is. He's at an angle, he's not central, but what Bakayoko's going to do is he's going to use the wall here. And he's going to use that and aim for this top corner. Now you have to be precise because you have to get the ball up and over the wall, but what you also have to do is get it down and below the crossbar. You'll watch these and watch how the goalkeepers aren't giving themselves brilliant chances here because they get behind the wall and they're not going to see any of the goalkeepers the ball until it's past the wall. But Bakayoko's about to hit this from, well, it's over 30 yards, It's 55 miles an hour. You'll find that when people bend it over the wall, you know, they're a little bit reduced in pace because they have to get it up and down. But it was a great free kick. So, third place, Ibrahim Bakayoko. Second place, sorry Gary, you haven't won it, is Gary McAllister. Everton involved again, this time on the receiving end, but this time Gary's opted for a different way. He's not going to use the wall and look to bend it in this corner. He's going to use this space here. And that's why I'm surprised that the goalkeeper hasn't put himself there and let the wall deal with the other side. And he's going to look to drill it straight through into that far corner. And for this, what you do need is pace on the ball. If you don't hit this one hard enough, even from the edge of the 18-yard box, the goalkeeper will get across because he'll get an earlier view of it. You can see, you can almost see it being struck. Therefore, if it's not struck with pace, then I'm afraid Gary McAllister's not going to score. But he doesn't disappoint Coventry here because Gary does hit it with pace. Beautiful struck ball. It's almost 63 miles an hour, and just watch it fizz in. That's unsavable. Great free kick. Second, Gary McAllister. The winner though, and I think this was a combination of both, you see Francesco Baiano of Derby County against Huddersfield. Because he needs, well, you look how far out he is, he needs pace to get it there. And he needs the bend of Bakayoko to get it up and over the wall and down again before it goes over the crossbar. So this is a little combination of both. Beautifully struck and yet wonderfully controlled. From that sort of distance, most goalkeepers would fancy saving this because they've got time. You can see where the wall is, edge of the 18-yard box. He's got 18 yards to see it when it comes past the wall, but such is the quality of this strike that even the goalkeeper can't get anywhere near it. So your first goal to choose from is Francesco. Well, pretty good free kicks here, don't you think? My second category, though, is improvisation, and by that I mean it's players who get chances and have to do something special to create the goal for themselves. It was tough, but I've picked three. Here are my top three. Gianfranco Zola in third place, and this is a beautiful goal. What helps him though is when he gets there, the ball's bouncing slightly, but he's had a little look. He sees the goalkeeper off his line and he just wants to lift it over him. You might think that's easy. It's not. It's a difficult skill, but Zola executes it quite beautifully. Dwight York in second place. Now this is different, and I'll tell you why, because unlike Zola's, which was bouncing, York's arriving at a ball that's on the ground, so he's really got to dig it out. You can see him, the body shape tells you he's digging it out, outside of the right foot, Ed de Hoy in no man's land. That was a beautiful finish, but it can only get number two, Yorkie. Number one, Robbie Earle. What a goal. It's a bread and butter ball in, and so often we've seen Robbie Earle in there, in the penalty box, looking for a knockdown. Now he would have liked this ball nodded down in front of him, so he could have gone on and hit it, but it doesn't quite come in front of him. But look at the way he adjusts, improvises, overhead kick, Walker's helpless, and I have to say, he is every right to be happy. So my second choice, goal number two, Robbie Earle.
Three categories. Does he play, I wonder? Well, he's got his boots with him, look. Jaap Stam, who missed out on the final game of the league season. Manchester United, that is, leaving their HQ now. Well, Frank McClintock has made his way back round from where the FA Cup will be presented today. We'll talk shortly. Before that, let's hear from Kirsty Gallagher, who spent some time this week in the company of some of the last decade's most famous Wembley winners.
This famous stadium has been the home of the FA Cup since the White Horse final of 1923. My memories, though, are more recent, and as the decade draws to a close, we look back at the 90s through the eyes of some of those Wembley winners. We start with the 1990 final, when Manchester United were at the beginning of an incredible era. But that day they were pushed all the way by Crystal Palace, who took the lead in extra time.
Good work from John Salako. Oh, it must be! It is! It's right! this. Room to turn. Hughes peels up on the run. Hughes! 3-3!
We were happy that we'd survived, really. I mean, for a long stage of the game, it looks like we weren't going to get anything out of it. So we were pleased that we had another chance, and we weren't going to slip up the second game.
We were all quite high at the end of the first game. I mean, we'd scored 3 goals at Wembley. I mean, usually if you score 3 goals at Wembley, you expect to win. But it was a great game, and I think everybody remembers that game more than the replay. I think everybody was a bit more relaxed because we knew we'd been through it once, and we knew what to expect the second time.
Lee Martin has come from nowhere.
I just hit it, and luckily it went in the top corner. Easily it would have gone up in the stand somewhere, but if you'd have asked one of the lads in training, they'd have said, right, you never score in that position, which I never did really. I mean, that was the first goal I scored all season. I never thought that I would do it in my lifetime. With being a defender as well, I never scored at all, and I was delighted to score the winner. It's something I'll never forget.
The FA Cup goes to Old Trafford.
It was a big moment for that group of players. I think it was important that we learned to win things. I think that's important as a side. It's okay winning games week in, week out, but at the end of the day, you've got to put a trophy on the sideboard, and I think once you've done that, that gives you more confidence for going into similar type of games in the future, and I think that's what happened with the United side since.
Everywhere I go now, people mention it to me. You know, remember you scored, it was a great goal in the cup final. And well done, thanks for scoring that goal. People mention it all the time, and it's nearly 10 years ago now, and it's yeah, I'm proud when people bring it up.
In 1992, second division Sunderland were looking to cause an upset as they took on Liverpool, and the occasion was one Red skipper Mark Wright made sure was memorable.
To get there was a fantastic achievement, and certainly massive for the likes of Dean Saunders and myself, who had never played in the final. Most of the other boys had all been there before and seen it and done it. So it was massive for us, and both of us really were there, going to go and enjoy ourselves, and that's exactly what we did. There was no way that I intended to lose that game. Didn't matter how I played, but if I played well or bad, but I intended to do everything I could to ensure that Liverpool Football Club and myself came out winners at the end of the day.
Well, Mark Wright put out a foot, and Liverpool are living on their nerves.
They chased and harried and were winning tackles and were making life difficult. But I actually think that, the second half, the energy, the life drained out of them because we'd moved the ball about so much. And then the second half was just, I felt, was a lot easier than the first. It was like an exhibition. We were just keeping the ball moving, and they just couldn't get near there. And then it was only a matter of time before, we dominated the game.
Michael Thomas! It's Thomas again, and now Rush.
Because all your life you dream about it, you think about it, you want to win it, and then for it to finally come true, you just think, thank you. And then for me to be lucky enough to be the captain and to walk up the steps and you're going to receive the the trophy, you think, wow. And when you get up there and you lift it and then you put it above your head, wow, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. And I probably said something a little bit naughty on the television, and I did apologise for it. That made up for all the pre-seasons that I'd ever done, and all the feeling sick during them pre-seasons, and all the hard work you put in, and all the scars and the operations, everything. You think, that's it. That was fine. I'll take all that.
1993 was a vintage year for the Gunners. They won both the League Cup and the FA Cup, the only club ever to achieve this. And both times it was done at the expense of Sheffield Wednesday. Well, here with me today is Alan Smith, a member of that winning Arsenal team. Alan, you're a Wembley winner twice that season. What did it feel like to go up those steps and lift the cup twice?
Oh, it was brilliant. I mean, it's something that you always look at on the television as a child, and you never really imagine that you'll do it. It was a little bit different because it was a Thursday night, and we'd like to have got the job done on the Saturday, as traditional cup finals are decided. But nevertheless, although it was a wet night, it was still a full house, and it was a great occasion in the end, especially the way it finished.
As the first game ended in a draw, how did you feel when you knew you had to do it all over again?
Yeah, it just extended our season, I think, you know, probably keen to get off on our holidays, but with the FA Cup at stake, we were all desperate to still get that because we knew there was a chance of making history.
Wood started to come, and Enright gets it past him. And now Chris Waddle. Sheffield Wednesday have equalised.
At one point it looked pretty close to getting to penalties, and I mean, I've never really been that keen on penalties anyway. I used to run a mile, but we hadn't really decided who would take the penalties, but thankfully it didn't come to that.
Linnigan, and it's a goal for Arsenal. They've won the cup.
Andy actually had broken his nose with a challenge on Mark Bright in the first half, I think. So it was very brave of him, the way he attacked the ball off that corner. And he deserved that because he'd never established himself in the first team, but when he came in for Tony Adams or Steve Bold, he'd really performed well. So I think all the players were really pleased for Andy.
How does it feel to say, I've won the FA Cup?
Well, it's tremendous. Although it probably wouldn't go down as the classic finals. When you look back, I mean, I'm at the end of my career now, and I look in my trophy cabinet at the FA Cup medal, winner's medal. It's a lovely possession to have, and something that you can remember for the rest of your life. And as each cup final goes by, you can say, well, I was there.
Often league form counts for nothing in the Cup, as Manchester United found when they faced Everton in 1995. The Blues' long fight for survival meant that pressure was never going to be a problem for Joe Royle's men.
I remember going to Ipswich, I think our second but last game of the season, last away game, and we won 1-0 very, very fortunately. Very, very poor. I think Paul Rideout got the goal. And coming back on the coach afterwards, it was so quiet. It wasn't elation that we'd stayed up. I think people realised that the relief, you know, it was just a massive relief as if all that pressure had gone. And then I looked at us from that moment onwards, we were never going to lose the cup. You know, because there was no pressure on us at all. We'd won our cup final at Ipswich. I fancied us really strongly that day. But as United came into it, they just lost the league. They'd come second in the league, and everybody again made them strong favourites. But I thought we were right for it.
Jackson, Matt Jackson. No. Yes, from Rideout. Graham Stewart hit the underside of the bar, and Paul Rideout put it in the back of the net.
The lads always rip Graham, you know, that Paul Rideout got him off the hook. Had he missed that chance at Wembley, people would never have forgotten it. It would have been one of those, and Smith must score, so Graham Stewart must score. He didn't, but Paul Rideout did.
The FA Cup goes to Everton.
I must admit, I did think back to that day when I was a young player at Everton and we lost in '68, so it just made up for that a little bit.
Some Wembley winners from the last decade. If you've got a very good memory, Frank McClintock hasn't, but if you have got a very good memory, you maybe go all the way back to 1971 when he won the double. And you were just speaking to Andy about that and the excitement of a season like a double winning opportunity. Now, for the third time, Manchester United can complete the double here today. That would be something special, wouldn't it?
That would be fantastic. They're in great form. Got a fabulous squad of players. They've got a great manager. Everything's just coming together right for them. On paper today, it looks as though they've got a much better team in Newcastle. But the cup final can kick you in the teeth, and it's been proved since way back that I think it's been 12 times when teams have been underdog in the last 40 years, and yet they've won the cup.
It's a while since we had a really big surprise.
Go on, I know what you're going to say.
No, I'm going to think Wimbledon beating Liverpool here. That's what I'm thinking.
No, you wasn't.
No, yes, I wasn't
at all. You were thinking when Clive played for Spurs, wasn't you? And we were the firm favourites.
You were, but would Newcastle winning here today be as big as that?
It would be a major surprise, there's no doubt about that, because Manchester United, fantastic position to be going for all three at this stage of the season, and Newcastle in poor form, there's no doubt about that. But Ruud Gullit likes the competition. He came here with Chelsea, 26 years without winning anything. He puts a silverware on the sideboard at Stamford Bridge. Could well do it at Newcastle, and it's been longer than that since they've won a major trophy as well.
Manchester United are on the way, leaving their HQ west of London. And it'll take them something like 40-45 minutes to get to Wembley. The final step. They've been in Berkshire for the last 2 days. They go back tonight to a London hotel. They go out to Barcelona morning, so the boys weren't able to join us when we wanted them to about midday, but I'm delighted to say they have now. He talked about wind. If you were with us at 8 o'clock this morning, he talked about the wind and conditions needing to be in their favour. It's a bit blustery out there, but I'm delighted to say they have made it, so well done, boys. Another big day of live sport coming up tomorrow across 3 Sky Sports channels. There's a double-header of World Cup cricket, Australia against Pakistan and Kenya against India. There's live US Tour golf on Sky Sports 3. Scottish football, Rangers against Kilmarnock, followed by Rugby Union, Barbarians against Leicester, and at 6:30 Spanish football, Tenerife against Real Madrid. That's over 28 hours of live sport coming up tomorrow across our 3 Sky Sports channels. Let's go outside to rejoin Kirsty Gallagher, who's got a very special guest with her, I understand. Kirsty.
I'm up here on the balcony. I'm joined by a very special guest this afternoon, Manchester United manager Alex Ferguson. Alex, what do you think of Ruud Gullit's sexy football then?
Well, so I don't think it's a lot about sexy football. You know, I believe in my mind that I've got the sexiest footballers. You know, you've got Ryan Giggs, very sexy footballer. You've got David Beckham, tremendously sexy footballer in my eyes, you know. So I've got the sexiest football team, no doubt about it.
Ruud, what are sexy footballers?
Well, sexy footballers is, you know, Gary Speed is a very sexy footballer. Alan Shearer is very sexy also. But sexy football is about turning on fans, and it's very sexy to do so.
How are you finding Newcastle these days?
Oh, it's very easy, you know, you go to the M1, it's very sexy.
Alex, could you be in for a bit of an upset this afternoon?
Well, Kirsty, the only upset really is if I lose my chewing gum, because I like to chew, you know, I'm like a cow in a field, you know, I like to chew the cud, and I chew all the time. Kirsty, you must chew, it's great for your chin.
Thanks for that. Right, we'll leave people to chew on that. Thanks, Mike Maguire. We'll speak to you a little later on. Now back to the studio.
Yes, we'll be back with Kirsty a little later. So it's Manchester United and Newcastle United in the 1999 FA Cup final. They got here not without a little trouble along the way. Alan Parry reports.
Newcastle's third-round encounter with Crystal Palace proved to be anything but problem-free. Shay Gibbons' handball giving referee Mike Reed no choice but to send him off. Stephen Glass was sacrificed to get Steve Harper in goal, and he was beaten within a minute by Lee Bradbury. But by the second half, the 10 men were flying. Shearer putting in Gary Speed to equalise, and the skipper grabbing the winner himself. Middlesbrough had won at Old Trafford in the league only 2 weeks earlier, and this time Andy Townsend put them in front again. Ryan Giggs supplied Andy Cole, who fired the equaliser. And with 8 minutes to go, Neil Maddison was adjudged to have brought down Nicky Butt. Dennis Irwin converted the penalty. And in the final minute, Giggs unlocked the Borough defence again to make it 3-1. Ruud Gullit's side proved too strong for Premiership-bound Bradford. Dieter Hamann breaking the deadlock after half an hour. Shearer raced away to make it 2 after half-time. And the Georgian Timur Ketsbayer took his time to score the third. The tie of the fourth round saw Liverpool go to Old Trafford, and with 2 minutes to go, Liverpool looked like winners after Michael Owen's early goal.
Beckham takes it.
Oh, it's York! Cole and York combined! Solskjaer!
Fulham had already knocked out Southampton and Aston Villa, but their cup dreams were ended by Andy Cole. Blackburn travelled to St James's Park and almost took the lead through Ashley Ward. Moments later, Stephen Glass missed by the same margin, setting up a replay at Ewood Park.
The bad thing is that we wanted to go a week to Portugal, and now we can't because we have to play again against Blackburn.
So, Ruud Gullit's side missed out on a week in the sun, but he seemed more than happy when Louis Saha booked a place in the quarter-finals. In another home tie, Alex Ferguson left Cole and York on the bench. A defender came closest.
Oh, it's off the post from Gary Neville.
Chelsea had already had Di Matteo sent off, and with time running out, Paul Scholes was also dismissed for a second yellow card. Newcastle were also at home in the quarter-finals, turning in a masterful performance.
Shearer's layoff, Ketzbauer will hit this, and scores! It's a good run by Hutchison, and he plays it on, and a shot by Antwerp has produced a brilliant equalising goal! The substitute, Georgiadis, puts Newcastle back in front. Georgiadis on the left. He finds Ketzbauer. Good effort! Oh, what a goal! Ketzbauer has surely clinched Newcastle's place in the semi-finals. Shearer in space. On it goes to Ketzbauer. Chance of a hat-trick. Lays it on instead. And a brilliant finish by Shearer. And that's finished Everton off.
For the replay at Stamford Bridge, Cole and York were back with a vengeance.
Here's Cole, and here's Dwight York. And here's a fine challenge by Cole, and it's led to Dwight York striking again.
Villa Park was the venue for a real clash of the Titans. United chasing a treble, Arsenal going for a double-double. Manchester United thought they'd won it, but the match officials had other ideas.
Pursuing by Beckham. Giggs chasing his own touch round Dixon. Great play by Ryan Giggs. And it leads to a chance for Wardy. But the flag is up. It's not going to count.
Newcastle went to Old Trafford to meet Spurs, who were chasing a cup double. The game hinged on two refereeing decisions.
Simpson's free kick is useful. It looked like a handball there to me. All the Tottenham defenders are claiming that it was a Newcastle hand.
It's a superb ball into the box. You can see the arm going up there, and that clearly is a handball from Davies Davies
knocks it in long. Clear by Luke Young. Gary Speed onto the loose ball. Finds Ferguson. Back it goes to Speed. Playing for a handball. And this time it's been given. It's a penalty. The referee had no doubt at all. And it was just as clear as the handball by Davies in the 90 minutes that was not given. Alan Shearer. He scored! Far post. Mahaman's there. Shearer hits it. Oh! Shearer takes Newcastle to Wembley.
Arsenal and Manchester United returned to Villa Park, and it took another 2 hours to separate them in one of the most memorable cup clashes ever.
Here's Sheringham. Beckham. What a goal! Beckham. Goal for Arsenal! Never write them off. Wembley at stake. Newcastle already there. And can Arsenal get their again. Oh, and now Schmeichel's far on it. He's offside. Flag up, no goal. It's Roy Keane, and David Ellery dismisses Roy Keane. In stoppage time, down goes Barler. David Ellery gives Arsenal the penalty. Would you believe it? Two international greats here, and a decisive moment in an FA Cup semi-final replay. Bergkamp and Schmeichel has saved it! What a hero for Manchester United! That's a rather weary one from Vieira. Giggs gets past Vieira, past Dixon, who comes back at him. It's a wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time.
Previous games between the two. In all competitions, only one previous Wembley meeting, that was the 96 Charity Shield, which Manchester United won here by 4-0. Two previous FA Cup meetings, all the way back in 1909 at Bramall Lane. Manchester United won it by 1-0, went on to win the trophy that year, and a very famous fifth-round tie when Newcastle were pushing hard for promotion to the First Division. Beaten at St James's Park. Jim Smith's Newcastle then, incidentally, by Manchester United. McClare with the winner, and Alex Ferguson went on to land his first trophy at Old Trafford. And watching that, all the old debates about...
I have to say this was probably one of the toughest categories to pick 3 winners from, or 3 finalists from. There were some brilliant strikes all through this season's FA Cup, but I have managed to narrow it down to 3. Here they are. In third place, Gary Jones for Notts County. What a strike. Gets a little bit of time. He's hitting it from, oh, just what, 30 yards out, 55 miles an hour. Look at it go. It is unsavable, but not good enough. And amazingly, one game brings me the second place and the winner. That wonderful FA Cup tie, Tottenham against Leeds. Ginolas volley, 25 yards, 63 miles an hour. Power, pace, direction, dip. Nigel Martin, no chance. But some of you might not agree. I think this has been beaten. Darren Anderton. It's not often you strike a ball as cleanly as this. Oh, there you go. 65 miles an hour from almost 34 yards out. Nigel Martin, the goalkeeper's got a great position, but he can do nothing. This is what you say, as sweet as a nut. Absolutely brilliant strike from Darren Anderton. So, goal number 4, Darren Anderton.
Right, and there's one category to come. Then we'll give you a telephone number, and you'll be choosing it today. Earning his corn, signing a few autographs, and checking in at home, maybe. The Geordie Nation has come south again. They did last year and were disappointed. They went home beaten by Arsenal. Can they turn it round this time around and stop Manchester United completing, well, the double immediately, and the second part of what would be an extraordinary treble? We've heard what it's like to win it here. We've heard what it's like to score the winning goal. When you've done all of that, celebration, you know, can last for days.
You wouldn't believe when we were running around with that cup, you know, how many tears there was coming down the eyes of the Liverpool supporters. You know, that's one thing that will always be in my mind.
You want it to last, for days on end. It's absolutely tremendous, and when you're actually walking down the tunnel, you know, going off there, you know, you want to go back on there. The supporters are still there, and you get in the dressing room after, you know, celebration, everyone's champagne's out, everything, you know, everyone's jumping in the bath, and it's absolutely, you don't want it to end, and I say it's the best feeling you can have in the world.
And there's the evidence. Doesn't matter how many times you've done it, you enjoy the next one every bit as much as you did the first time. It's Manchester United against Newcastle United. Coming next, we'll get the teams confirmed. Manchester United and Newcastle United. The Olympic Gallery, as you can see, sparsely populated. There are one or two more making their way into the stadium. Incidentally, of course, the Cricket World Cup continues next week. 6 games, all live, only on Sky Sports. There's a double-header tomorrow, Australia against Pakistan and Kenya against India. On Tuesday, it's England against Zimbabwe. There's another double-header on Thursday, the West Indies against Scotland and Australia against Bangladesh. And on Friday, it's New Zealand against Pakistan. That's 6 live games coming up next week, all of it live only on Sky Sports. He's come well prepared. Flag, wig, face paint, hat, all of it necessary on a day out at Wembley. I wonder when they came, because when we got here today, you know, there was Geordies all over the place who had been here, I imagine, all night, enjoying their weekend, not just their day out. And we're into the last hour. 59 minutes from now, Manchester United and Newcastle United will kick off on that Wembley turf. Manchester United aiming to complete their 3rd double. The second leg of what would be, as we've called it once or twice today, an improbable treble. Newcastle United back to avenge the defeat of last year, when they were the victims of the double winners then. Arsenal, of course, on that occasion. This time today, Manchester United have the same incentive. And we've got the team news. George Gavin has the details. George.
Dramatic team news as well, Richard. Jaap Stam doesn't make it. He's on the bench for Manchester United. It's Johnson and May. And up front, surprise upon surprise, it's Cole and Solskjaer starting today for Manchester United. For Newcastle, Ketsbaia and Shearer up front. So, Manchester United, Peter Schmeichel's farewell to football in England. Phil Neville replaces the suspended Dennis Irwin. Keenan Scholes in the middle, Johnson and May in the defence. Ryan Giggs plays up front, Cole and Solskjaer on the bench, Jaap Stam and Dwight York. And for Newcastle, only Steve Harper's 10th senior appearance in goal for Newcastle. Laurent Charvet has missed the last 6 weeks through injury. Solano is the first Peruvian to play in an FA Cup final. Alan Shearer partnered by Temurai Ketsbaia. On the bench is Duncan Ferguson, waiting to come on if he gets his chance. He has a minor operation to go through on Monday, but he's there if required today.
Lou Macari must have the inside track. No Jaap Stam, Louis, you're absolutely right, but what an absolute stunner. No Dwight York either.
Well, I said to you, Richard, there could be a surprise up front as well. Knowing Alex, everything he's done at the moment is...
That's not a surprise, is it? Well, I mean, that's a bomb, if you like.
Well, he dropped a bomb at Villa Park that night. We were all shocked when there was no York and no Cole. Sheringham played, Solskjaer played, and at half-time we were saying, well, he's done it again. These two were playing exceptionally well.
But mentally, how does Dwight York react to that? Because
I'm sure that he's not 100% fit, that's why he's on the bench.
Let's go and join Andy and Frank McClintock, who I hope are going to tell us where it could be won and where it can be lost. But before that, Andy, no Dwight York. As I say, an absolute stunner, isn't it?
Well, funny, Richard. Frank and I have just been debating that whole topic. And I think one thing that I think we agree with is the fact that maybe it's a huge compliment how highly Alex Ferguson actually rates Dwight York.
I think that's exactly it. I think he thinks Dwight York is so good that he wants to keep him fresh for Wednesday. I think, as Clive said there, I think he'll bring him on at some time during the game. But people like Keane, who won't be fit for the final, he knows he'll be out there to play 90 minutes. But York, I think it's a tremendous compliment in a roundabout way to him.
Well, let's confirm the selection that Alex is starting with. Must have been a tough decision, but that's an easy one. No doubt the goalkeepers, probably last Wembley appearance, but the back four of the Neville brothers, flanking Ronnie Johnson and David May. What a powerful midfield, what a quartet. With the Beckham and Giggs, the competitiveness of Keane, and the quality and goal scoring of Scholes. And up front, well, that's the surprise. No picture of Dwight York, for a formidable front two of Andy Cole and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So that's the 1-11. We can put this team in, I think. There's no doubt, as I've said, the Neville brothers will be at fullback, no doubt about that. May and Johnson will play in central. It's a pretty easy midfield as well. We'll go with Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Giggs. And I just wonder, do you think, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, we'll talk about that, but the two up front, Cole and Solskjaer. And Ruud Gullit's response trying to beat this team is this 11. Steve Harper, not Shay Given, in goal. A back four of Andy Griffin, Laurent Charvet, Nikos Dabisas and Didier Domé. An experienced, well, 3 out of the 4. Robert Lee, Gary Speed, Dietmar Hamann and Alberto Solano. And up front, they're relying on Shearer in tandem with Tamuri Ketsbaya. So, we've agreed pretty much, and I think the lads in the studio, you've agreed that Manchester United are probably the best side in the country. Would that be fair?
Well, I think they've proved that they've won the championship, Andy, even though it's a point that they've won the championship and they're an outstanding side.
The one thing I want to mention before we talk about Newcastle, do you think normally when we see York and Cole, or York and Sheringham, or Cole and Sheringham, we've got one of them off the front, but do you think with Cole and Solskjaer we might actually find them both playing up there?
I think so. That's both their styles, and you know, he's scored 17 goals already and he's been substitute most of it. I mean, it's unbelievable. I didn't realise he had scored that many goals, so shows you the squad that Alex got.
So you're Ruud Gullit, Frank. You're playing the best team in the country. You've said you don't think they can go into this game and just play and win. They must have a plan. They must stop United. Go through their team, you take us through it and tell us where they've got to be good. They've got to stop United, and then how they can possibly win it.
Well, first of all, if United have got the ball here and you can't win it back easily, I would suggest that they do like Nottingham Forest have done many years ago when they won the European Championship, is let them have the ball there. Drop everybody off to just around about the halfway line.
Put their system in. Put their
okay, we've put the full-backs here. Charvet. And we put the, it's 4-4-2, both are 4-4-2 anyway, so it's quite straightforward. And Shearer, Ketsbaya.
So what you're saying is if they've got it here, that Shearer and Ketsbaya can
drop off, and eventually even Ketsbaya especially can drop off that little bit further to make up the midfield. The idea behind it, I think, Andy, should be that do not give Manchester United time and space. If you give them time and space on this pitch, I think they will absolutely slaughter you.
So if they get caught chasing the ball up here, Frank, and this midfield gets caught like that, you're saying if there's space here and space here, they'll get done?
They'll get absolutely done because the movement of the two forwards is excellent.
So squeeze the space.
So squeeze them in. It's nothing that's really new, Andy. You know this before. But drop off, play it deep, keep it close to your goalkeeper, get your midfield right in front of your back four, get one of your forwards in here as well. And I tell you what, sometimes it's so difficult to play 1-2s with so many congested bodies that what you have to do is hit high balls in. But Xavi and Davidas are reasonably good in the air, so
and these two are not the biggest either, are they?
They're not the biggest in the air. They're not really looking for the
ball. What
about
wide? I look at Manchester United and I see Beckham, massive threat. Giggs, massive threat. How do you cope with them two?
What I think they've got to do, I think the Manchester United midfield for me, Andy, along with the Arsenal, are the strongest possibly in the whole of Europe. They are outstanding. I know what I think you know, the manager will do. I think he'll get Lee to come back and double up. As soon as Ryan Giggs gets the ball, Lee will be back here. He'll be doubling up against his full-back, 2 against 1, communicate.
And the same on the other side?
Exactly the same on the other side with Solano and Domé.
Do you think, I mean, these two are a little bit inexperienced in this country?
They have, yeah.
I mean, I just think, is that somewhere?
Well, that could be a weakness, Andy, because Beckham's in marvellous form. I mean, he's been scintillating since he come back from the World Cup. That will be a difficult for them, but they've got a better chance, Andy, rather than being spaced out and getting the ball to somebody like Beckham. He doesn't need to take people on. He will not obviously try to go past people because Beckham's not particularly quick. But you just give him a half a yard, he'll go out towards the touchline, whip the ball in behind people here.
We've only got 30 seconds or so, Frank. So, given that Newcastle do all that and they stop United, briefly, how do you think they can then score a goal at the other end?
Well, I think when you've got Alan Shearer, you've always got a chance of scoring a goal, Andy. You're against 2 centre-halves who are second centre-halves. Not one of them is a Jaap Stam, a Tony Adams type of player. I think you've got a little chance in the air and in general strength. They're two very good players, but Shearer and Ketsbaya backing them up with the midfield then coming up, that always gives Newcastle. The thing is, Newcastle cannot get a goal against them in the first 10 or 15 minutes, Andy. It could completely ruin their chances. The longer they keep it 0-0, the more pressure's on Manchester United.
Well, sorry Richard, we could sit up here, Frank and I, and discuss this for the next half hour, but we've got lots more on the show.
Andy, thank you. As you can see, a number of the players have made their way onto the Wembley turf to start their warm-up. And the clock is still counting with some 15 minutes or so. Those of us young enough will instantly recognise Desiree, who's just been singing her latest hit, I think the word is. And she'll be back to be part of the pre-match a little later as well. It's Wembley Stadium today. It's Manchester United and Newcastle United. As Newcastle found out last year, there's nothing for the losers. The only thing on a day like this is for the winners. That aerial view being provided by the airship, which is circling high above Wembley Stadium with permission from air traffic control, because normally this is Heathrow landing territory. England-Sweden, fortnight today, live on Sky Sports 2. That's a Euro 2000 qualifier, of course. And then football throughout the summer. We've got the Copa America, the best of South African football, live and exclusive from Paraguay. And that all starts on Tuesday, June the 29th. It's Manchester United against Newcastle United, live from Wembley. We'll join the players. I wonder if he'll have the same impact as many of his foreign predecessors.
A lot of people would think he's a much better player than he's getting credit for. He scored about half a dozen goals this season, comes from midfield. My question today about him would be, he's going to have to be in the same area as, and here you see him striking a brilliant goal.
Well, he can hit a ball. We know that, don't we?
This is an unbelievable goal. Look at his 5 red shirts around. He hits it with the outside of his right foot, I think, in that one, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think he's very experienced.
So
he won't be phased by the occasion, that's for sure. And he obviously possesses that ferocious shot, which, you know, is always going to be a danger to Manchester United.
My point was, Clive, he's going to be up against Keane and Scholes. When Scholes goes one way, is he going to track back with him? How's that going to work out? That's a match-up in midfield we're going to have to look at.
I think that could be a problem to Man United, Rod. I mean, Scholes in there, he's a non-defensive midfield player. Beckham's non-defensive. Ryan Giggs, he's no use for you either defensively. There's only Roy Keane in there, and against them, they've got Haman, they've got Gary Speed, who likes to get forward. Robert Lee, we know, can score goals. I think that's a concern for Alex Ferguson in that midfield area.
What sort of problems will Tamuri Ketsbaia pose Manchester United?
I think they're unpredictable.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't know what he's going to do, and I don't think Ketsbaia knows what he's going to do sometimes. He's one of those players that could come to Wembley, actually, you know, play magnificent and win the game for Newcastle, or he could be an absolute flop. I don't think there's any in between with Ketsbaia.
I think the thing is, because he comes into such strange positions, he'll play deeper, he can score goals, he can create goals, as we've seen in the earlier rounds, especially for Shearer. And I think that's the problem. He won't go and play up alongside Alan Shearer. He will move around, he'll just, as we see, in a deeper position, picking the ball up. Very difficult to mark. What a tremendous strike that was against.
Wasn't he a midfield player originally, Clive, wasn't he?
I think he
off as a midfield player. I think that's why he likes comfortable being there. I think that's why he'll always drop
off of Shearer and play deeper than Shearer.
Yeah.
Alan Shearer, we know everything about. I just wonder how deep inside him burns the desire to be a Geordie skipper lifting up the FA Cup.
Well, he's done everything else, Richard. He's got wealth, he's England captain, he's done it in the England team. He's been here last year, and as he admitted himself, they were an absolute disaster. They didn't even turn up, they didn't put on a performance whatsoever. He's come back this year, every chance of not only himself redeeming himself for the non-performance last year, but the team itself, and he knows what these Geordie supporters are like. I mean, he knows how desperate they are for success.
Do you think, Lou, that if they didn't win this cup final, do you think Alan Shearer would consider maybe leaving Newcastle?
I would think with everything he's done, Frank, and as I say, the wealth that he's got, I think it's very difficult to keep yourself going. I mean, now, all that's left for Alan Shearer is actually to win things.
He's a great player.
And if he doesn't feel he's going to win things, Rod, at Newcastle, like Frank's indicating, he might be off.
I think Alan Shearer, Rich, is a great footballer. You know, I've said this before, in the dictionary where it's got professional footballer, there should be a photograph of Alan Shearer. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I would imagine if you're a forward bearing down on him, he looks so big in goal, he's such a big strand. He's saved so many times, he's jumped out like a starfish, isn't he? He's jumped out like that, and the ball smacked his hand, and unusual style and technique, but he'll be sadly missed. It'll be very difficult to find a goalkeeper who can come anywhere near him.
That's Frank McClintock. Lou Macari, can you believe he's actually calling it a day at Old Trafford?
Well, when he said he was, Richard, some people said, well, he'll change his mind before the end of the season. I never thought he would do. He's a type of lad, Peter, that when he's made his mind up to do something, he goes and does it. He's made his mind up to go abroad, a cosier life, an easier life. He was going through a little spell at Old Trafford where things weren't going right for him.
When you're at the peak, and he would appear still to be so, and Manchester United are in their pomp, and there's still things to be won. Why?
I think it takes a clever player to realise the time to get out. and Peter's realised what he's done for Man United. We're talking about him here as being the greatest goalkeeper, in my opinion, ever at Old Trafford. I wouldn't like to be sitting here a couple of years from now, Richard, after a nosedive in form, saying, well, he was all right for 10 years, but the last 2 years he's been awful. I want to remember the great Peter Schmeichel.
That's what Rodney's been saying the last couple of weeks as well. He's not usually right, Rodney, but I mean, at least he agreed with that.
David Beckham's had quite a season. After all the disappointment for him, the personal disappointment of the World Cup finals and the way that ended, many felt that he would have to go and play his trade abroad this season, but Clive Allen, nothing could have been further from the truth. He's knuckled down and had, what, arguably his best season at Old Trafford?
I think you're right, Richard, and I think what he's done, he's matured. He's matured through the experiences that he went through in the World Cup, and what he's shown everybody is what a fantastic footballer he is. And some of the quality of his crossing, as Rodney said earlier, probably the best in the world. And if you're a forward player, knowing that you're going to receive service like this,
look at that.
It's undefendable. Crosses like that cannot be stopped. And really, he's had a great season. Semi-final, the first goal against Arsenal. The thing is, you look at him and sometimes you say, well, you know what he's going to do, it's going in the top corner. And that's exactly where he puts it, time and time again. Well, first and foremost, you've got to not give free kicks away, because you know what the eventuality will be.
If they do, Hullet said he's prepared completely for this game. Will they put somebody on the line under the crossbar to try and head it away?
Because there's all sorts of problems, because other people go behind the wall then, and it's difficult situation.
But that's what tactics all about, Frank, as you know.
I think the beauty about David Beckham is, in my opinion, the last 20 or 30 years, I've never known a player to get so much stick from away supporters since the World Cup. Yet, as a kid, and I regard him as a kid, he's bounced back, which is tremendous. I mean, to bounce back from the abuse he's been getting. I mean, I've been at a lot of the United games, and you probably haven't been there, Richard, but the abuse he was getting was unbelievable.
Do you know, for a winger as well.
He's also, sorry Frank, just want to mention Ryan Giggs, because there was a time at Old Trafford when the spotlight fell on him, but the old fella now, at what, 25, has been eclipsed by David Beckham, hasn't he?
Do you know what George Graham told me? He says when they played against Man United recently, he says when Dominguez got the ball, or Darren Anderton, he was shouting from the line, get on the fullback, attack the fullback. He says, but before he could get the words out of his mouth, Beckham and Giggs was back there, and the first people we had to meet, and yet look at the skill they've got. What George was on about, and he's always been on about that, even before we Kanchelskis and Sharp. Alex has always had good attacking wingers, and I know what Lou was saying earlier, they might not be the best tacklers, but they get back and double up like all the time, not just occasionally, every possible chance they get back. That's why they're so good. They've got skillful players, but they work exceptionally hard for their team. And Beckham, the point I was going to make, before you interrupted me rudely, Richard, was Beckham is a very unusual winger, because he's not a fellow who's got great pace who goes past people. He just takes it to the side and whips the ball in past them.
Well, didn't need much pace there, but he skipped through, didn't he?
You talk about why Manchester United have had the success they've had, and you don't have to look any further than Giggs and Beckham and what they've provided for the team, both defensively and offensively, going forward, the quality of crosses, the goals they've provided as well. So it means they can score from anywhere. It takes the pressure off the front boys.
Scholes is coming as well.
You've got Scholes in midfield as well. Keane is always going to get forward.
The modern George Best, they always say, who we should say happy birthday to today, George Best. And we know the celebration started early.
The team is a tremendous desire to work, and it's a tremendous desire to win.
Lou, there is the thought that they are a better team with Keane in the middle there. Do you go along with that?
Well, I'm not looking forward to not seeing him perform on Wednesday night, Clive, because I think he will be sadly missed, especially against a strong German outfit like Bayern Munich.
I think he will want to have a big influence on the game today, being his last. And I think you'll see a big performance from
Difficult week, mine. Not the build-up he would have wanted. We don't want to get into the problems he's had off the field, but must in some way play a part in the back of his mind, or not?
I don't think so at all, Richard. I think that Roy Keane, for me, is a consummate professional.
To South America for a festival of football from the continent which lives for the beautiful game. And from the very heart of English football, the crucial Euro 2000 qualifier. To a world in union, England and Ireland on tour in Australia. World champions South Africa face New Zealand and Australia. The best golf from around the world, the US Open, plus top events from the PGA European Tour, building up to the Ryder Cup in September. Then to New York for one of the most prestigious Grand Slam events. Plus the World Cup of Cricket, Test cricket and the new Super Cup. This summer, for the best in sport the world over, let Sky Sports take you there.
The hell is that?
From the producer of T2 and Aliens comes on.
Just about to go through those famous old gates, and old they are as well. That's Manchester United.
The substitution's been very good as well, Rodney.
See, they've won everything. They've even won the race to Wembley.
Yeah, but just to finish my point is that Alex Ferguson has thrown players in and out, and he's been right every time, Richard. He's had almost a perfect season.
But he doesn't just pick teams for the game, does he? He picks teams for 2 and 3 games ahead of the one he's currently involved in. That's how immaculate and articulate the planning has been.
Well, that's right, but I heard him interviewed this week and he made a great point. He said, first and foremost, he picks his team to win the football match that he's playing in. Of course, and he'll do that again today.
Yeah, you're talking rubbish here, Richard.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Doesn't he pick it 2 or 3 games ahead? He picks it for today.
Do you think he's not kept Nicky Butt in cotton wool, bearing in mind he's going to be the
Well, he knows Nicky Butt. He knows Nicky Butt is essential for Wednesday. That's different. But what he'll do is.
So I'm not talking rubbish.
No, you are, because he will leave players out today. He will leave players out today, and he won't even lose a wink of sleep over it.
He won't leave Jaap Stam out today thinking I might need him Wednesday.
Yes, he will.
So I'm not talking rubbish.
You're talking partly rubbish.
You can see the point.
Yeah.
All right.
Partly.
Partly. And here they are. Gee, Steve McLaren, the assistant who joined partway through the season.
He's not seen him being beat yet.
Well, he hasn't. No, he must wonder what on earth's happened to his life.
He thinks of that all the
Do you know,
time.
Richard, he must be pinching himself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What a job that is for him, eh?
Hey, he's contributed, like the rest of the backroom staff. Peter Schmeichel, who plays his last game for United in this country today.
I'll tell you what, Richard, they look relaxed. Talking about, you know, they're confident. There's no doubt that they're coming here confident.
Yeah, so much for you, they're going to doubt themselves today.
Rodney, they will have nerves, don't you worry about it.
He's talking rubbish.
Always.
Hey, Frank, these two are talking rubbish.
I know they are. Been telling them all week.
Paul Scholes, does he start today? Ryan Giggs,
that'll be the one.
Does he start today?
I wonder if he'll leave him.
He's been here a few times, though. He's experienced the day.
What about Andy Cole? I mean, any other team, any other game, these boys are in, aren't they, from the start, but maybe not here today.
David Beckham will play.
Beckham play?
Don't stick your neck out, Clive.
It's a good... Will Jasper play?
They're not looking so happy now, are they?
Maybe one or two of them know already whether they're playing or not.
We'll have the teams, of course, around about.
Do you know what, Richard? That means nothing. All that smiling or looking tense, it means absolutely nothing. You sometimes think certain players are going to be the star of the show. You go out there and you find it's a 19-year-old that's only played a half a dozen games and they win the match for you. That's how stupid the cup final can be. And do you know that out of 11 teams that have came to Wembley for the second time, 8 teams have won it out of 11.
You mean
for the second time
having lost it before?
I'm
Twice,
following you.
You know,
yeah.
Twice, 8 times it's happened. The
So-
second, like Newcastle today, you know, the way the records has been going, 8 out of 11 teams
So
have
you
been
think
there.
Newcastle are going to win then?
No, I certainly don't. But that is possible. That is possible.
Well, it was an interesting little statistic.
It was, I was just giving you,
Have you got any more?
it in. Rodney likes the statistic. So I thought I'd bring that one in.
Right, let's go outside. Peter Schmeichel, we've mentioned, playing his last game here at Wembley for Manchester United in this country, and Kirsty Gallagher's talking to him.
This time I'm joined by 3 famous soap stars, Michael, Chris and Sean. Boys, who are you going to go for this afternoon? Let's start with...
Well, we mulled it over on the way down, didn't we, lads? And we came to the consensus that United are going to win the treble.
Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester United, of course.
What about a quick prediction then?
3-1.
2-0, Ollie.
3-1.
Any men to watch on the pitch this afternoon, particulars?
From number 1 to number 11 for Man United, and Alan Shearer for Newcastle. Maybe Kit Spire as well.
Kit Spire, but the one I'm a little bit wary of is Ferguson. If he starts or if he gets half an hour. If Stam doesn't play, I don't know who we've got to look after him, and we need someone to look after Ferguson because he's a right handful. He does, and he's got a reputation. So hopefully he's going to be on the bench, and he'll get 5 minutes. not enough time to do anything.
Now you're talking.
Have you been to an FA Cup final before?
Once or twice. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping it's superstitious, but we was there against Liverpool, and we're going through a similar sort of routine now. We've got a ritual in a minute. We'll go and do our ritual dance in a minute. It's superstitious, but, you know, touch wood, we're not superstitious people.
No, this is the one.
Well, you go and do your dance and have a good afternoon.
Cheers, thanks very much.
And back to the studio.
Because I threw you a dummy there, what I meant was that Kirsty wanted to talk to Peter Schmeichel, and Peter Schmeichel wanted to talk to Kirsty. He plays his last game for Manchester United in this country at Wembley today. No two ways about it. They're going to miss him, and he will miss them.
We've always followed English football, like, you know, Scandinavians do that every Saturday, and Man United was my team. And to actually come over here and play has been, you know, a fantastic dream come true. I've been here 8 years, I've got 5 championships, I've got 3 runners-up, and I don't think that I ever dreamed of that it could be like that. Team, and I'm very happy I've been in that.
What have you personally learnt from Alex Ferguson?
Where do you want me to start? No, I mean, he's got a drive which is very hard to explain. He wants you to win every game, every single game you play, and he thinks that we can win, you know, and he's passing that on to you in a very good way. I think we all take that attitude on. We've all taken on over the years. We think that we can go into any kind of job and we can do it and we can win the game. And I think that's the thing that I've learned, that believe in yourself. Maybe a little bit of arrogance in that as well, that you can actually go and do that. And that's something that's been passed on from him, definitely. But there's so many things. He's a fantastic leader. He's a brave leader. He'll take responsibility in any kind of situation. If that's a situation that he knows that's going to be nasty to a player, he'll make sure that the nasty, it's pointed towards him, and he'll take that responsibility. And you know, he lets the pressure off you there. And I haven't seen too many other managers doing that.
What does this FA Cup final mean to you?
Well, it is a massive game. I've been in 3 before, and these are the games that you're desperate to get, you know. It's such a lovely occasion. Everything around, all the surroundings, the days up to it are just fantastic. And I mean, the FA Cup is special. I can't put words to it.
Peter Schmeichel talking to Jeff Shreves and Manchester United, the first of the 2 finalists to arrive at Wembley, as you can see, are getting a first feel of the turf, a first look at what, from this angle anyway, can be a very confusing cut. Is that a mobile phone?
Yeah, looks like it. Wes Brown, is that?
It is Wes Brown. I wonder if the manager's seen that. He saw David Beckham on the mobile before, remember I was up there, before a league game at Old Trafford. So thank you, Bex. That'll go towards the Christmas party funds. Fine. And they are heading down to the opposite of the tunnel end. That's where the Manchester United masses will be hoarded this afternoon. The artwork, incidentally, on the pitch is not there when they start. That's down to us. But it's pretty nevertheless, isn't it? That's the Manchester United end. The scarf is for real. The longest scarf in the world. Matched only by the one at the other end, in Newcastle United colours. Wonder what's on his mind. Teddy Sheringham, Jaap Stam there. Is he a starter today? Frank McClintock, Rodney Marsh and Clive Allen, our studio guests here this afternoon. Where's Peter Schmeichel? Rod just made a statement. The best goalkeeper that's ever played the game. Full stop. That is quite a statement, Rod.
Well, up until about 4 or 5 years ago, I thought that Schmeichel and Gordon Banks were the 2 greatest goalkeepers I've ever seen. But in recent years, game after game, Richard, apart from a very short period this year, Peter Schmeichel has been absolutely incredible. And
he's had quite a season too, hasn't he, David Beckham? Absolutely.
Best crosser of the ball in the world, in my opinion.
Many thought he'd be driven out of the game this year after the unfortunate experience at the World Cup finals, but not so. Newcastle United, as you can see, are about to enter Wembley Stadium.
In a red bus?
In a red bus. Same journey that they made last year.
Then, Frank.
Frank, what's your point about the red bus? What's that mean?
We'd have thought Man United would have come in that, wouldn't you? They came in a black and white one.
Did you know, Frank, 6 of the last finalists who came in a red bus went on to lose? I've no idea whether it's true or not. But
yeah, it's a made-up one, that, eh? Yeah.
What a great day, though, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Isn't it a brilliant day?
And of course, I mean, so often they tend not to live up to the expectation, but there have been some many memorable examples down the years when they have. And do you know what? You get the feeling in your bones this one just might, Clive.
Well, I just think, you know, the last of this millennium, and without a doubt it could be a very, very special cup final. You know, so many twists are possible. Andy Cole, as we just saw there, could score against his old club. Will he actually start?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the hero against Liverpool.
He's come off the bench a number of times, and as you say, a last-minute winner against Liverpool earlier on in the competition. Incredible wealth of talent that Alex has got to pick from.
Come on, you Toonami, where are you?
I think the thing as well, Richard, is that Man United are so used to big matches, you know. I mean, there's so many international players.
Is that why
there.
Newcastle have played it down, Frank? Is that why Ruud Gullit just wants this to be any other day out?
I don't think Ruud Gullit can do anything else. I mean, he's in a great position in a way because they've got to a final. They haven't been playing exceptionally well this year, and they're in a great position.
He'd love to win it, wouldn't he?
Oh, Shearer. It means an awful lot to Alan Shearer.
Richard, I wonder if that's significant that Warren Barton has a pair of boots in his hand, you know, because you just wonder, normally they'd be in the skip. All of a sudden he's leaving the bus with a pair of boots in his hand. Maybe he could well be involved.
Or maybe superstitious.
Quite right, Rodney.
Fair point. He might also have just got a new pair of boots.
Got about 10 pairs of boots in that bag by the looks of it.
So what are we to read into that then?
He's playing.
So Newcastle United are here. Manchester United, as you've seen, are on the pitch. And all things being equal, we'll hear from one or two of the boys in a moment or so. We've heard what it's like to win it. We've heard that it's great to lift it. But they tell me there is nothing like scoring a winning goal at Wembley.
To be the youngest player ever to score at Wembley, and then 2 years later to go and score the winning goal, it was a dream come true, and I don't think it'll ever be beaten. Well, I hope not.
When you're at school, you don't dream about winning the championship. You dream about playing in an FA Cup final, scoring the winning goal in the FA Cup final. You know, I'm lucky enough to have done it 3 times.
And that's why it's different. That's why it's special. That's why it is the FA Cup final between Manchester United and Newcastle United this year. Next, we're pitchside with the players. Newcastle United, the final game of the 1999 FA Cup competition, the last one of the millennium, and have we had some fabulous moments along the way.
This is my moment, this is my perfect moment with you. And if tomorrow brings a lonely day,
There is no FA Cup fairy tale spun here in Leigh tonight.
love
hear the final whistle.
Unbelievable stuff here at Deepdale. It's another Premiership scout for Fulham.
Best we can do now is to offer to replay the game, because we didn't win the game like we want to win our game.
Thinks it's in, look. Charles. Dennis Bergkamp. Here's Dwight York. It's a wonderful run from Giggs! Well, it never ceases to amuse with this competition.
And I know it's been said a few times, but that is what makes this the best club knockout competition in the world. The FA Cup, the final today between Manchester United and Newcastle United. We're in the company of Frank McClintock, Lou Macari, Clive Allen and Rodney Marsh. And Rod's just looked over his left shoulder and said, that's what it's all about. What a day.
You know, football is...
Well, you know, we've treated it as any other game really. You've got to, you know, it's an FA Cup final, it's really important for both teams. So, you know, we've concentrated on preparing well and we're looking forward to it now. We just want to get it started.
Has it been more relaxed after winning the Premiership?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's taken a little bit of pressure off us, I suppose, because obviously winning the Championship, it's eased our pressure a bit. So, you know, we've enjoyed this week. We've relaxed a bit and enjoyed training, and it's gone well.
And is there any way you'll underestimate Newcastle United?
No, not at all. You know, Newcastle are a great team, and I'm sure, you know, they've proved that during the season in games. So, you know, it's going to be a hard game for both teams.
Do you still relish days like this?
Yeah, it's an FA Cup final. It's any young man's dream to play an FA Cup. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to it.
Good luck, David.
Thank you.
Wonder if he should add if selected. Who knows? We'll get the teams, of course, at 2 o'clock, about 20 minutes from now. But as the boys were saying, we suspect that one or two already know. Alan Shearer, Geordie captain today. Wouldn't he love to get his hands on that trophy and take it back home? So disappointed after the final here last year. Rob Lee, who's found some form at the back end of the season. And that, of course, the Newcastle United end. As I said a little earlier, the artwork is ours. The scarf is part of the pre-match entertainment, which we should be enjoying as well, around about 2:15. Another late arrival, who's replaced Frank McClintock in the studio here, delighted to say, is Lou Macari, who scored the winning goal here in the 1977 final to stop Liverpool completing the treble. Do you have any doubts, Louis, that Manchester United can win here today and complete part 2 of what would be a fantastic treble?
A couple of weeks ago, Richard, I had no doubts. I thought they'd come here in good form and just go and sweep Newcastle aside, but no Jaap Stam, so we believe. Dennis Irwin missing.
You're telling us something that we don't know, just
well, I would tend to think that he won't play. Big game on Wednesday. Any risk at all, Alex will not take it. I mean, Wednesday, he's got his sights set on Bayern Munich on Wednesday. So with those two missing, I think they could have a problem or two. And if Alan Shearer hits the form that we know Alan Shearer can do, then obviously Newcastle can go and win the game, but they'll need to put up an exceptionally good performance as far as I'm concerned.
You know, Clive was talking about the nerves that players obviously will feel as they approach the turf up the tunnel today. Now, you said 2 weeks back you had no doubts they'd sweep Newcastle aside. You're obviously getting a little nervous yourself right now as well.
Well, I'm not even playing. Walking towards the stadium, I was getting nervous, and I was with my wife, and she said, well, what are you getting nervous about? You're not playing, but you do. This is Wembley, this is a big occasion. And I remember coming here in '76 with Man United, overwhelming favourites. It was just a matter of turning up, beating Southampton, and going home with the cup. And it didn't work out like that. You know, we couldn't score, we got frustrated, and in the last 10 minutes, Southampton broke away, and Bobby Stokes smashed one that we were claiming offside. Goal for Southampton, we'd lost the cup. That can happen today.
But you came back the following year, like Newcastle have done this time around, and you won it then. Was the day different? Was the incentive different? I mean, what turned you into winners 12 months later?
The day was different. Liverpool were then under pressure. They were going for the treble. We were underdogs, believe it or not, and we had a good side at Old Trafford.
Just must interrupt you for a moment. We've got to go downstairs and hear from Alex Ferguson, who's with George Gavin. We'll come back to you, Louis.
You're on the camera then.
Well, Alec, it looks like a family affair here. Introduce us to the young man, please.
This is my grandson, Jake. First Wembley.
Looks as if he's looking forward to it.
Oh, he's looking forward to it, yeah.
You seem very relaxed. This is your 5th final of the decade. What do you enjoy most about the day, apart from winning?
Well, I think it's a spectacle. Wembley is it's a wonderful place to go to, and it's no matter the occasion, it's always something special about it.
You never tire of this atmosphere, clearly.
No, it's a wonderful atmosphere.
How are the players? How relaxed are they?
Well, they should be very good. I mean, I don't detect any signs of apprehension about them. They've won the league last week. That definitely takes a little bit edge off them, and I think they'll come and enjoy it today.
Well, history is on your side. When you'd won the league in '94 and '96, you did just that afterwards, didn't you?
Yes, well, but it's the 3rd time lucky.
All right, Alex, thanks very much indeed. Cheers.
And Jake's favourite player, if you were wondering, is David Beckham. I mean, you were saying you're nervous. He plainly isn't. He's got half the family with him here today.
Well, he's done it all. He's seen it all, Alex. So he comes here full of confidence. Everything he does at the moment comes off for him. I mean, people say he's a lucky manager. You're not a lucky manager. He weighs everything up. Team selection, he weighs up probably weeks in advance. There might be another surprise for us here today. You know, semi-final with an almighty surprise. No York, no Cole. Will there be one today?
Let's go back downstairs again. Nick Collins. that we're at Wembley. Now we know that we've got a game on. Now we know that it's the FA Cup final. Top team are on duty today, I'm delighted to say. Our match commentary duo, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Well, the final FA Cup final of the 20th century. The first between two teams named United, and Andy, as always, uniting interest all around the world.
Without a doubt, Mark. It's a fabulous day. I know it's only a year since you and I were sat here, but each year I come back here because I, like most of the lads in the studios, have special memories of this place. It's sad to see it go, I have to say that, but that's progress. But it's a wonderful, wonderful setting. It's another magnificent occasion. It would be fitting if we leave the Millennium, Martin, with a game worthy of these two great teams. Not maybe the players at Newcastle at the moment, but these two great teams who, well, Newcastle, as you look around this ground, the turnout of their fans in replica jerseys is testimony to the devotion to their club. If ever a band of supporters deserves a trophy, then you couldn't argue with that lot in our shot now.
Newcastle need to switch their game back on. They've been soft-pedalling since that semi-final. They've not won a game since then, whereas Manchester United really arriving at Wembley at full speed.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I'm always wary and worried about teams that come to Wembley, Martin, and try to switch on. I've always think that if you're playing well, then go and play well and win football matches. That's what breeds confidence and belief. I think, unlike athletes and other sportsmen who can peak for certain parts of the year, a footballer gets his, well, he peaks by playing well and winning matches, as United have peaked for the last 5 months since they last lost a game. But Newcastle have good individual talent. United have got to do more than just turn up here today to win this trophy, but I think they know that, and that's what makes it a very, very tough game to call.
Wonderful setting. Older viewers, I'm sure, will be recalling memories of previous cup finals.
What was
up
your
in the northeast.
What was your first final? Do you remember?
Yes.
What one was that? 1924?
No, it was the Matthews final, which I watched on television in 1953, so that was a good way to start. Alex Ferguson and many of his Manchester United team know what Wembley demands. Not of the talents, that's taken for granted, but of the temperament. And I can bring you some news from the United camp that the manager had to delay his team decision because they have been hit by a virus, and 4 of the side have virtually risen from their beds to play today. The Neville brothers, Ronnie Johnson and Paul Scholes. And I think for a man who's first and foremost a football man, but also with a streak of sentimentality in him as well, for Alex Ferguson, for players who've done so much, that must have been a devilishly difficult decision, whether to say, well, they're not quite fit enough and I'll put others in who are, or to reward them for all that they've done this season. He's chosen the latter course, and let's hope for the sake of the players that that illness goes away as quickly as it arrived towards the end of the week.
It just depends how much it took out of them. If it sapped a little bit more strength than they would have needed today, because they're going to need an awful lot. Talked about the way this whole day, this whole event, not just the pitch itself, but the whole thing goes towards sapping your strength that little bit quicker than a normal football match. So I'm sure Alec will have a keen eye on all 4 of those players.
Well, the Newcastle players, with their sense of superstition, are pleased that they're in a different dressing room this year, that the team bus arrived second and not first like last year. That's the sort of little nuances that players reach for, because there are some bad memories, and Alan Shearer has been speaking about them, to wipe away from what happened to Newcastle a year ago. He said he felt guilty going around the northeast in a so-called celebration parade after that 2-0 defeat by Arsenal. There's a huge incentive in this man alone and the others who were part of that side that lost to repay the faith on Tyneside. And in a manager, they have, of course, a man who's won the FA Cup. 1997, Ruud Gullit steered Chelsea to success. Well, the fans have been waiting. You're getting the glimpse of the players before those in the stadium. And Andy and I will pause so you can appreciate the welcome for Manchester United and Newcastle United. FA Cup final, 1999. Shirts, a recent phenomenon really in football and FA Cup finals. There hardly seems to be a Newcastle fan here without one, and it's pretty much the same story in the other half of the stadium. In many ways, this has been a season when the FA Cup has had to fight for its place in the pecking order. But the epic semi-finals at Villa Park, a reminder of its compelling drama. Next season, the traditional dates will change to accommodate the Champions League. But the FA Cup has shown its durability as well as its wonderful sense of drama. And I'm sure that will continue to be the case. Staging of the day also being used to back England's bid to host the World Cup finals in 2006. Men of influence in international football circles are the guests of the Football Association. It's a campaign we wish every success.
Who are accompanied by Lord Duro, Chairman of Sun Life and Provincial Holdings, representing AXA, and representatives of the Football Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem.
The national anthem. Presentations. His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, making it a royal occasion. The Duke and Duchess of Kent, great supporters of the Football Association, are also with him. Well, will there be some Dutch footballing courage for Newcastle today from Ruud Gullit? Prince might have had to help Prince Harry through the dismay of Arsenal not being amongst the prize winners this season. It's been a distracting week for Roy Keane, but he stayed on the team bus when Manchester United arrived in the company of Alex Ferguson. They had a long talk for a good 10 minutes. Maybe the manager helping the captain resume the correct attitudes for what lies ahead here at Wembley, very much in the glare of publicity again. Teams for you. Remember the concern about illness for 4 Manchester United players, the Neville brothers, Ronnie Johnson and Paul Scholes, already without the suspended Dennis Irwin. They've lost another first-choice defender, Jaap Stam, though he is on the bench. David May, who didn't play enough games for a Premiership medal, will get an FA Cup memento today, one way or the other. In midfield, places for the 2 who are suspended next Wednesday, Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. And in attack, Alex Ferguson has gone for Andy Cole and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Dwight York, in particular, a victim of his own importance for the Champions League final.
Well, it's a pretty familiar-looking formation. Managers don't like change, and Alex is 2 from his normal back 4, particularly May and Neville, that left-hand side, along with Johnson and Gary Neville as right back. And it's important, I think, there's an area where Newcastle are going to try and exploit. I think it might be in Ronnie Johnson and David May's partnership. I'm sure that might be an area they've targeted, because ahead of that, with Arsenal's, I think this is the strongest midfield quartet in the country. Nothing between either sides there. Beckham with quality of coming wide and drawing crosses in to test anyone. Scholes with the forward running of a real goal scorer and a threat. Giggs, not only the ability to go wide and cross, but to go past the front men, either running with the ball or without, and into a scoring position. And I just wonder, normally when we talk about Manchester United, we talk about a front man dropping off, whether it be Sheringham, whether it be York. I just wonder today if we're going to see 2 out-and-out front men.
Steve Harper's recent form has given him the edge over Shay Given in the Newcastle goal. Defender Laurent Charvet has proved his fitness after missing the last 7 games with a knee injury, but Duncan Ferguson has only made it as far as the bench. The key decisions for Ruud Gullit, the full-back and wide midfield positions. It's Andy Griffin and Rob Lee on the right, Didier Domi and Norberto Solano on the left, and only 5 of the 98 final side start today.
Well, if Newcastle United are going to win this game, then they have to do it from a base of, I think, 6 players playing particularly well. Lee, Griffin, Xavi, Dabizas, Domi. I think the wide players in protecting and limiting Giggs and Beckham, the back 4, it goes without saying, will have to defend well and not concede a goal, I would suspect, early in the game. I think Hammam and Speed in central midfield are a good duo. Good at going forward, Speed can drive forward and score goals, good in the air, might be a threat. Hammam, lovely striker of a football, the threat is there. But after the disappointment of last year, I'm sure this man is up for it. He knows the responsibility on his shoulders. He carries the captain's armbands. He probably carries all the hopes of every Geordie supporter in this ground at the moment. Will Alan Shearer, can Alan Shearer win the game for Newcastle?
Well, distinct similarities about the respective routes to Wembley. Both Uniteds drawn at home in each round. Both had to come through one away replay. Manchester at Chelsea, Newcastle at Blackburn, and both survived penalty scares in the semi-final. Newcastle United to kick off. Again against the champions as they were a year ago. Again, despite the change in management, finishing 13th in the Premiership. 33 points in league terms, the gap between these two sides. Newcastle have kept this as low-key as possible. They only arrived in London yesterday afternoon, trying to treat it as just another match. Harman, Rob Lee, in goes Keane. It was hauled into midfield by Davies Lee, reacted smartly, finding himself in the centre where in truth I think he'd like to play. Domi, Solano. Can line up a shot, it flies off David May, and Ketspire came in powerfully and pushed into Jonsson. Free kick given by today's referee, Peter Jones, who had to preside over those chaotic fifth-round scenes which led to Arsenal beating Sheffield United and then restaging the tie.
Well, not everything's perfect match day at the moment, the match ball. It was a little sneaker goal there for Rob Lee, Martin. I was surprised he didn't get pressed a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier. He had time to take a couple of touches, and he certainly can strike them better than that, but I think that's a little measure of nerves. Opening 5-6 minutes, every player wants a touch of the ball, just to settle them. Even players who are, you know, steeped in international caps, they want a touch.
Oh, Newcastle beginning with a real sense of purpose.
Just looking at Roy Keane, Martin, that tackle from Gary Speed. I know he went off with a damaged ankle, and he just got up just rather gingerly. He's limping at the moment. Roy Keane doesn't look happy. This is the tackle from Speed. Keane's just taking time, wandering about. You see the left ankle just buckle under him, twisted it. There isn't a doubt in my mind of that. It's just how much damage to the ligaments is the twist.
Speed, who has had an excellent season for Newcastle. He's taken part in all but one of their first-team games this season. And a year ago we were saying he hadn't really done himself justice since his move from Everton. He has been one of Newcastle's players of the season.
Well, I'm keeping my eye on Roy Keane, Martin. He is very, very uncomfortable, the United skipper.
What a step up for Steve Harper, who takes the free kick. Shearer, Solano, and Schmeichel has to hold it at the second attempt, but that's in keeping with the early mood from Newcastle United.
Lovely volley, beautiful technique from Solano. It's never beaten him. Schmeichel's behind it all the way, but I noticed there Alan Shearer just drifted onto David May, teammates at Blackburn. I just wonder if, you know, sometimes when you played with someone, Martin, you know their strengths, and if Alan, even in training and practice matches, had a lot of joy over the years when they're both at Blackburn, and those kind of games might well play on David May.
Solano, Speed, trying to guide it through to Ketspire, cut out by Jonsson.
Keane's struggling, Martin, I'm telling you, he's not going to last. He is really struggling. He wants him to go down.
And what a few days it's been for Roy Keane, from a celebration to simply a sell. And now the concern of an early injury, or a recurrence, as Andy points out, of an injury that has put him over the run into the Premiership. Although he did play against Tottenham, surprisingly.
Was it the left ankle, Martin? I just can't remember. But that was the tackle. Now look at the left ankle, just turn and twist underneath him. Now that's tweaked the ligaments, and it must have done. Not only tweaked them, but stretched them. It's often a difficult one. Not like a knock that you can run off. Not like when you've strained or pulled something, a ligament in particular. I would be amazed if he's done that, if he's carrying on for much longer. Alex Ferguson, probably within 5 minutes, is at the moment talking about making his first change in this year's FA Cup final.
Well, there's no Nicky Butt involved today, because of the suspensions one assumes that Alec Ferguson and Steve McLaren have got to deal with on Wednesday. And Scholes and Keane can't play. Giggs. Jesper Blomqvist is on the bench. Bit of hesitation here by Phil Neville, and Manchester United have got problems.
Well, he's in trouble, Haman. Referee didn't have a great view of that. People had backed. He's a long way away, Peter Jones, when he makes this decision, but he's late. Fractionally, but he's late. Be the first yellow card.
Hamann, the first German to play in an FA Cup final since Bert Trautmann kept goal in the mid-50s for Manchester City here.
I'm still thinking about what Alex Ferguson might have to do, Martin. His captain looks very bad. I'm looking at who he's got on the bench. He could certainly play David Beckham infield and bring on Jesper Blomqvist. He certainly could play Dwight York wide. We know, we have seen York in recent league matches at the end of the season play both right and left.
Beckham offside against Cole. He could also tuck Giggs in one and play Blomqvist outside him. At the moment, Roy Keane, who's joining a select band of players who've taken part in 5
hold on,
Wembley finals.
Teddy Sheringham, I think, is a one, has been given the nod. Now that is one I wouldn't have called. I just wonder if that means Solskjaer will drop back into the midfield area.
Shearer. Well, we're talking about a serious injury here and a key part of Manchester United's team, and let's not forget also the illness that's affecting Paul Scholes. Giggs, that's good defending by Domi, bit of hesitation by Xavi, and Newcastle, who looks as though they dealt with the danger, switched off for a fraction of a second. That could have been very costly. Here's a hesitant kick by Schmeichel.
Well, I'm all for players being composed in a cup final, Martin, but Xavi there really did put his keeper in all sorts of trouble. A lovely ball from Ryan Giggs, you know, to Andy Cole. I don't think he realised Domi was behind them. Otherwise, he'd have just gone straight onto it.
Scholes. Xavi cuts it out. He's had a full week's training. And he looks okay, but we can't say the same about Roy Keane. His life has gone downhill since he collected the Premiership trophy last Sunday. And with just 8 minutes gone, the Manchester United captain has to go off. An ankle injury. Ryan Giggs runs across to talk to Alec Ferguson. Teddy Sheringham comes on.
Beckham in field, I can tell you right away. Solskjaer right, looks at the signal, the instructions that have come on.
Sheringham involved straight away. His first touch trying to guide it for Scholes. Comes to Solskjaer.
Why didn't someone shout to Sheringham? Hold, control it on the chest. They all back away. Ball's thrown in, now take it in your chest. Somebody really should have been giving him a little shout. Shot's not troubling him. But you get the feeling the game hasn't started for Manchester United, Martin. Almost 10 minutes into it. Major reshuffle. Influential player going off.
Well, that is very tough to take for a very tough character. Neville with a throw. May. Put up dangerous play. Indirect free kick. Beckham rolls it to Scholes. May. Trying to feed it into the feet of Andy Cole, who took it very well under some pressure. Sheringham. Scholes. For Sheringham! Brilliant play by Manchester United, and the the substitute has struck. What an extraordinary set of circumstances here. Heads down, Roy Keane off, arms up in elation for the man who's replaced him. Absolutely super for Sheringham.
Well, the game certainly started now for Manchester United. What a move, what quality. But I'll tell you something, Andy Cole's pass here, Martin, it's to Giggs. Sheringham just sticks out a leg, but what he did from there, two exquisite touches. I thought Scholes was going to hit it, but he just faces a quite beautiful ball here. Perfectly weighted. Sheringham's only concern is hitting it and hitting the target because the ball's so good. And Steve Harper's first real task, picking the ball out the back of his net. We said it was important for Newcastle they don't concede early. They've done that. Just how will they respond?
May. In goes Harman, untidily. Free kick to Manchester United. When we were beginning to list the difficulties for them, they produced a superb goal, only Sheringham's fourth of the season.
Good finish, kept it low. Goalkeeper spreads himself very like Peter Schmeichel has done through the years, but through the legs it goes. And suddenly, what was looking a very awkward day for the Manchester United manager has changed within a second.
Shearer trying to hunt down the ball played in behind David May. Well, even more responsibility on those broad shoulders for Newcastle now. But Teddy Sheringham, who scored goals here, of course, for England, but in club football hasn't had too many big days. Now he's got his Premiership medal and he's hoping to secure another prize trinket in the FA Cup with the opening goal of the 1999 FA Cup final.
Well, we talked about skill and ability winning you matches, and Alex Ferguson over the years has made some great tactical substitutions that have won matches. But there's that old commodity that man possesses as well, and that's good old-fashioned luck, Martin. You lose your captain, you think you've got problems. His substitution to bring on Sheringham was a masterstroke. Obviously, we're talking about Blomqvist and talking about other people. And on he brings Teddy Sheringham, and what, within a minute, 2 minutes? Guess what, he scored.
And really against the balance of the opening minutes. Newcastle trying to be fast out of the traps. It's a player known not for his natural physical speed, but for his quick thinking, Teddy Sheringham, who has given Manchester United the early impetus.
This is when it's dangerous, though, to have cruised the way Newcastle have done, Martin, since they won the semi-final. Because if you lose a goal like this against an immensely confident side and talented one, then where is your confidence to get you back in? Where does it come from when you've gone a goal down early in a cup final?
Solskjaer with a different job now, but Teddy Sheringham, 96 seconds after coming on, puts another paragraph in this history of this glorious competition. Careful with the challenge after the early booking. He's got the ball here, and Peter Jones has blown against Gary Speed. Newcastle United were the first club to reach 10 FA Cup finals when they last won it in 1955, and now Manchester United already taking an early step towards becoming the first club to win it 10 times. Shearer using his strength against Johnson. Supported by Lee. Gets Bayer. Griffin. Oh, and they've lost track of Rob Lee here of Manchester United. And Shearer gets his head to the cross.
Little push. Peter Jones just indicating to the Newcastle captain there's a little nudge. He would have liked to look at this. Lovely little build-up, but he would have liked to look at this cross as it comes in on Gary Neville. Well, just a little nudge. No luck for Shearer there, but what a finish here. Look at that, he threatened. He set up just to shoot Scholes. Slid the pass through. He can't believe it, can he? He can't believe it.
Well, when you've waited till the age of 33 to become a winner, I guess you wonder whether it's ever going to happen. But for Teddy Sheringham, it's as though this is going to be a wonderful week in his life. But we're still in the early stages here at Wembley. Gary Neville with the cross. Three at the far post for Manchester United. He's just hesitated for a moment, but had the speed to recover, helped by Beckham. Flag stayed down. Newcastle fans on that far side yelling for the ball going out of play. Philip Neville. Tough little character, Andy Griffin, who went in powerfully, then did Beckham.
We just have to be careful, David Beckham. We know how intense he gets in a game. He's now in an area of the football pitch where he's going to be in contact. Certainly with Gary Speed and Nikmar Haman, two competitive players on their own.
So Manchester United throw, Newcastle throw rather, it deflected off the United defender, and Rob Lee, who was captain here last year, he's had to surrender that to Ruud Gullit's change of policy. And Shearer has those honours these days. Harman. It's a foul by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was sent off against Newcastle in the Premiership last season.
Well, this is distance, this is a free kick. So the lunge, he's just a little late. Gary Speed just nicks it. Lucky to get away without a yellow card, but this is certainly in Haman range. I would have fancied Shearer, Martin, but he's walked away from it. It's unusual. How often have you seen Shearer walk away from a free kick in that kind of area?
The one Newcastle goal against Manchester United this season came from a free kick, and it was Solano.
Solano bent it. They have the options.
He's got the subtlety, Haman the power. It's Solano trying to recreate at Wembley what he managed at St James's Park.
Not a bad effort, I have to say. But you can always tell, I talk about goalkeeper's reaction to a cross. You see Schmeichel unconcerned with it, knew it was always just a couple of feet too high. He certainly bend and dip on it.
Plenty of television viewers in Peru today, and indeed all over the globe, such as the international appeal of the FA Cup final. Scholes, and another free kick conceded by Haman. Finished the season well for Newcastle. He and Gary Speed to try and get a grip in the central midfield. It's Sheringham. Speed with the challenge, and the cross just a little overcooked.
I'll tell you what Alex Ferguson has got now with this system, Martin. I just looked there as the cross was coming from left. Is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, unlike David Beckham, who would probably just hold wideish, is bombing into the box. He's not going to be restricted right side. If it's coming in from left, you can bet that this young lad will be in the middle of the penalty area trying to score.
Well, it is his first FA Cup final. He's the exception rather than the rule with this Manchester United team. Same applies for Ronnie Johnson and, of course, for Teddy Sheringham. May. Xavi finding the bounce a bit awkward then. Sheringham. Scholes just easing it wide to Giggs. Back to Giggs from Sheringham. Phil Neville. Wasn't an easy pass to get to in the end.
Just got to settle Newcastle. Just clear their heads, really. Get a foothold in the game. They did start fairly bright for 10 minutes. Shearer won 2 or 3 headers and nice little knockdowns. Goal was a real shock to them, real surprise. Just got to be careful not to concede another.
Griffin. He did such a good job on Schindler in the semi-final. Scholes. Just apologising, Paul Scholes, for not releasing the ball earlier. Oh, fresh memories of Wembley for him with that hat-trick for England against Poland in March. But here he's been the creator with a beautifully disguised pass for Teddy Sheringham. Giggs. Sheringham forcing it through to Cole.
You can see the quality mark on show. I think when they get it down and they pop it off, the little gives and goes and movement is excellent.
Beautifully taken by Giggs. Only had Cole to aim for in the penalty area, although Solskjaer was making tracks unmarked just outside.
Made a great run, didn't he, Solskjaer? Had he spotted him, Ryan Giggs. First part, beautiful control.
Domi. Here's Chave. Calculated by Gary Neville, and Domi makes it awkward for him to awkward, says the referee. Free kick to Manchester United. The young Frenchman unhappy with the decision. The 2 Premiership matches between the 2 Uniteds do offer some hope to Newcastle. They did lead the Reds at St James's Park in March. We talked about that Solano free kick. Only for Andy Cole to come back and haunt his old club.
Well, I'm not sure what Andy Griffin was thinking there, but he just goes straight at Ryan Giggs. There's no movement for the ball. Misses the ball completely. Just come off the worst. Knock in the nose.
Distance, yeah, giving away the free kick. The pause allows us to hear from Clive Allen, who's down there at touchline level. Clive.
Well, Martin, I'm just a couple of yards from Peter Schmeichel's right hand up right here. The one thing that's notable is how focused he is this afternoon. It was a fast start by Newcastle, but I've got to say, tremendous footwork from Schmeichel when he made the save from Solano. Manchester United are settled now, controlling the game, and really, Schmeichel is leading it all from the back here, giving great information to his back four. They look very comfortable now.
Beckham with the free kick. Sheringham! Well, he's the one that they would want to get into that position.
Good ball. But what is he doing in acres of space, Mark? Where is the marking as Sheringham drifts in here? It's only 6 inches too high. What's more concerned is it drops over Sheringham's head. Anyone coming in at the back post is coming in completely free.
Beckham, very much the central midfield man now. That is As. A good play against Arsenal last season. Griffin was cup-tied then. And then for Cole to chase. Out comes Harper.
Flag went up late, but the flag went up. Must have been a close call. He just chases a lost cause here, Andy Cole. The ball's played through. It's not aimed for him. He's just about a yard off. Ball played up to Sheringham. Andy Cole decides to chase it. Linesman was right.
feats for Newcastle. Absolutely fantastic in terms of goal scoring, but since he's joined Manchester United, his all-round game has blossomed so much. He can still point to 24 goals this season, and the one that won the championship. Scholes. David May did well to come out and make a challenge on Solano there. Domi into the Peruvian. Rahman getting the better of Beckham. Ketzbayer. Well, if he could have taken it on then, he got Solano unmarked to his left.
If he could have taken it on mark, he didn't need Solano unmarked. Look at that, out his feet now and hit. Didn't get there. First little opening, little chink in that central area of Manchester United's defence.
Domi, Solano. Here's Griffith. Shearer gets it to feet. Lee. Speed joining Shearer in the centre, and Gary Speed's very good in the air. And it's knocked away by David May. Giggs. Cut out by Sharver.
That's just confidence building for Newcastle. A little bit of pressure, a little bit of passing, control of the ball. Haven't enjoyed any of that since they conceded the goal.
They do feel that they have improved as a passing team in the Premiership this season. And here's a chance to prove that. Back to him.
He does do it very well, and he does do it often. But you can see him look at Ronnie Johnson. That's what the referee saw. He has a look and then backs into the centre-back. I think it's okay if you stand and don't move, but I think his movement back towards the defender was what influenced the referee.
In there, Sheringham cleared the way for him. What a step up for Steve Harper. Only his 10th game for Newcastle.
Well, I can't believe it because he's had absolutely nothing to do, Martin, in all honesty, than just go turn round and pick the ball out the back of his net.
Sheringham. Newcastle have had their own 30 years of hurt since their last trophy, the Fairs Cup, the forerunner of the UEFA Cup in 1969, before Alan Shearer was born. Can they put that right? They're a goal down to Manchester United, who so rarely are beaten when they do get the first goal in a game. On a day when it has to be settled. No replay, remember. Extra time and then penalties if required. Speed. Flag's gone up against Shearer.
Yeah, again, not much in it, just a yard, just the other side of Phil Neville. And you see there as the ball's angled. Well, there, yard offside, but offside it is.
Half-hour mark, 30 minutes in which Newcastle started so well, and then Manchester United lost their captain and won the lead. Giggs. Griffin, who played very well at left-back for Newcastle at Old Trafford. There was some speculation he might have been put there to deal with Beckham. But no real surprises in the Newcastle team when it was finally announced at 2 o'clock. Well, Sky Sports 3 Rangers against Kilmarnock tomorrow. That's at midday. And it's the Scottish Cup final next Saturday. We start at 2 on Sky Sports 3, the Old Firm final. I'm tempted to say again.
There's been a few.
Sheringham. Beckham.
Just choked in a little. Sometimes this stuff makes it just that little bit more difficult. A little bit lusher than most, and didn't quite hit it as cleanly as he would have liked.
We've also got the playoff finals to come. And I suppose with Watford getting through, Andy, there might be a goal scored in an FA Cup final against Watford. And we'll get an airing or two over the next few days.
Whose is that, Dennis?
Should it have counted by any chance? Here goes Shearer taking on Ronnie Johnson. Free kick to Newcastle. Manchester United have dug themselves out of an awkward position.
Well, this is a threat
in the first third of this game.
If you looked at where Newcastle have good powers, it would be aerially. Because along with Shearer, the Dabizaz, Charvet, Haman, speed, all players that can climb and head a ball. So it's important that you put in a good delivery.
Well, it was Gary Speed. And that was a little moment of concern for Manchester United.
It's awkward for Speed. He's coming back. It's just dipping and it's going away from goal. You can see Gary Speed has to lean back and attempt to hook it over his shoulder. Did well just to make contact with it. But I think that's an area where if you were Ruud Gullit in a game where you might not be scoring too much in free play, you might have concentrated a bit on delivery and getting people into certain areas for headers.
Scholes, Sheringham free. Able to steer it on for Solskjaer, but not with sufficient power. Manchester United playing the percentages here with Gary Neville. Solskjaer makes a move, but it's over him towards Sheringham. Beckham didn't quite sit up for the shot, so he's nudged it wide to Neville. A touch by Solskjaer at the near post. It's still in play. Giggs for Sheringham. That was a classy response. Solskjaer calls it, and it's hooked away from the very line itself by Dabizas.
Well, they're hanging on by the fingernails in this moment in time. Pressure mounting, pressure building. Two glorious chances for Manchester United to increase their lead.
Philip Neville. But here's Gary Speed trying to give Ketsbaia something to chase. Solano has gone infield of him. Ketsbaia taking on David May, or trying to do that. Now has to look for support coming from deeper. Harman. Speed leaning back as he struck it.
Well, the earlier chances, two of them, Andy Coles and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think this is a great opportunity. It's a wonderful ball, Beckham-like in its delivery, and look at Solskjaer at the near post. I think he's on the way down when he meets the header, because he should be hitting the target. And this, whether he's offside, it's very much touch and go, but he mishits it totally. Top of his foot over the goalkeeper, but never had enough pace to roll in.
Griffin. Lee. Ronnie Johnson just climbed high enough. Not only cut it out, controlled it as well. Shearer was looking to dart in behind him. Domi. There's plenty of cup finals in France in the last couple of years, including one in the European Cup Winners' Cup with Paris Saint-Germain. Foul by Speed on Gary Neville. Yes, he didn't get there the second time as Andy Cole came across behind him. Rob Lee. They have only a limited future at Newcastle, it seems.
Limited options there on the ball as well, he had, Martin. Only Kitsbaya making any sort of movement ahead of him.
Here is Kitsbaya. He's a bubbly character, and it's that type of personality to be shown out on the pitch that Newcastle need in these circumstances. Speed. Chave, not sure what he's doing there. Backing up Lee as the ball breaks loose. Shearer, he's got support from Ketsbaya. Domi. Ketsbaya. Bahaman. He does pack a punch with that right foot, like that. And Peter Schmeichel turns it aside.
What a save, what a strike. That's the threat from Pete Bahaman. I don't think Philip Neville closes him down quick enough as he skips past Scholes here. He doesn't really get to it, Philip Neville. That's a very good save from Peter Schmeichel. They're just growing a little bit in confidence. You get the feeling, Newcastle.
Well, he didn't get the ball in straight away from the corner. Now it comes in from Rob Lee. And some half-hearted appeals by the Newcastle players for a penalty. Davies had stayed forward.
I'll tell you what, if Davies had gone round the other side, Ronnie Johnson, it might have been interesting because Ronnie Johnson waits for this. He doesn't look, he doesn't go and attack it. Davies has just went in wrong side, and he come from the other side. He might well have been able to take it on.
Cole. And the ball's run for Paul Scholes. Sheringham. Beckham taken a bit by surprise there. And here's Harmer. Ketsbaya was not quite expecting what happened there with the pass or with his loss of balance, but the outcome is a free kick to Newcastle, who are enjoying a better spell at the moment, more in keeping with the early minutes before the Sheringham goal.
Well, Manchester United are just a bit ragged at the moment. Anytime Newcastle get it down with any purpose and go at them, they're just causing a little bit of concern. Again, they have the option. Round about here, Solano Beach, Schmeichel, St James's.
This time, and if it could have been diverted, it was Shearer trying to do that. And that was the only way that Schmeichel was going to be inconvenienced.
Well, that's important. If someone's going to have power, Martin, then you get across the flight of the ball if you can. It's hopelessly pulled the free kick, but Alan Shearer did his best to get a toe to it, deflect it goalward.
Well, you talk about Manchester United looking a bit ragged, Andy, and there are enough reasons for that, aren't there? Alex Ferguson tinkered with the team to start with. Then there was the injury to Roy Keane, the worry about the illness to 4 of the starting 11, which may yet have an effect as the game goes on. It's not quite as hot as has often been the case on Cup final day at Wembley. A bit of a wind around, but down at pitch level, usually. Here goes Sheringham again. And Gary Neville's cross, and Newcastle are playing a dangerous game in their own penalty area.
Well, they are, but they couldn't stop this. They can't stop it, Mark. The football again was beautiful. They spread it wide. They sucked players in centrally and spread it wide to Gary Neville. And they haven't missed David Beckham, have they? Neville's produced 2 or 3 beautiful balls in from the right-hand side. Sheringham, another free header.
Domi. Lee bounces off Beckham, digs infield. Cole for Sheringham. Lovely one-touch stuff. Giggs. It's too high for Cole, too high for Dabizas, who wasn't aware that there was no one behind him. And here is the Greek now. Shearer's offside.
Well, I think that's not too bad if you get caught offside a couple of times. I think United do hold the line, Manchester United that is, do hold the line. And I think that Alan Shearer will know that, and he's tried to get in behind on 2 or 3 occasions. He's only been a yard offside on 2 or 3 occasions. Look at this one, it's very, very close. I don't think he's offside as that ball's played, and he'll keep trying to get in there, because the one time the flag will stay down, and he might well be through on goal on his own.
Neville kept it in, kept up the pressure on Newcastle. But it's a free kick against him. Well, what about the Duncan Ferguson factor, Andy?
Well, it depends how bad his injury is. I think he has got a problem in that groin area, but I think it's something that Ruud Gullit would only rush probably in the last half hour. I would say maximum. At 60-minute mark, we'll reach it at 1-0 or worse for Ruud Gullit's Newcastle United, then I think we'll probably see the arrival of the big Scot.
Beckham. Looking around the outside. And Gary Speed with his own speed. Nicely done by Charvet, the interception. And the release of the pass as Sheringham closed him down.
You know what's interesting in Manchester United, Mark, is where's the boss? Who is the boss of this outfield 10? At the moment it's fine, you don't really need one. It's 1-0, you're okay, you're playing quite well at times. Suddenly if things start to go against you then, and Roy Keane isn't there on field, on the pitch to really pull people about and upset a few, you look around and say, well, who is it? It would be interesting to see who of the 10 would take up that mantle.
Well, Gary Neville's been spoken of often enough as a future Manchester United captain. The brothers involved in a second final, this time from the start. In '96, Gary came on as a substitute right at the end, although Philip played the whole game. Two minutes plus stoppage time to half-time. Scholes, one to aim for. And Nicole making himself a willing target. He's taken it out.
Good out ball that. I always think if you've got a bit of pace up front, you're under a little bit of pressure, and you can look up and just knock it over the top.
Domi. He was a bit anxious as he spun round. He wasn't sure whether Kexpayer would be able to get to the ball. The back pass from Philip Neville just bounced up a bit for Schmeichel, who hoisted the clearance away.
Well, it's not the best back pass. You can see the keeper didn't fancy it. Got too close. It amazes me how defenders pass the bucket times in difficult situations, difficult areas to the goalkeeper, and say, you deal with it.
Sheringham. Beautifully done by Giggs. Overhit by Teddy Sheringham. And to create for others from midfield himself this time. But what will concern those on the Newcastle bench is the capacity Manchester United have shown, even in difficult circumstances, for them to make openings. You see the desire to close down in midfield at times are misapplied. It's a bit aggressive there by Speed on Beckham. Peter Jones having a good look at what might develop between the two. It ends in an adult discussion between David Beckham and Gary Speed.
Well, it was that kind of tackle, wasn't it? That launch in at the back of Roy Keane. Saw their skipper go off.
Beckham, not quite kindly enough for Kexpayer. Never been a goalless draw in a Wembley FA Cup final. And he didn't have long today to wipe that possibility out. And Teddy Sheringham struck 96 seconds after replacing Roy Keane, who went off after 8 minutes. with a fair turn on Davizas. With a kick by Harper. Solskjaer did a bit there for Manchester United to allow Cole to get possession again and have the shot.
Yeah, I thought he should have used Sheringham or Ryan Giggs. Not his strongest side, his left side, Andy Cole. He was never going to get this onto his right, but he had Giggs coming out and in support. You can see Sheringham and Giggs at the top of the screen. Either would have accepted a pass of that, I'm sure.
Beckham. Working back by Solano, but Newcastle need a bit more than that. Xavi. Still forward by Speed. May's header. Solano on the scene quickly. Harman. For Alberto Solano. He looks for Katzbaya. He wasn't even looking for the penalty, he just stumbled. Peter Jones blows for half-time. Well, an extraordinary opening 10 minutes. Manchester United seemed in some disarray. Alex Ferguson saw Newcastle start quickly, and in one of those early jarring tackles, Roy Keane, a major casualty, caught by Gary Speed, unable to play on. Sent on Teddy Sheringham to sensational effect. This was the incident that left Keane lame again. And Paul Scholes played a huge part in Manchester United cutting through. Question marks about Newcastle's defending coming into this final. And an early Manchester United goal for them to celebrate. But that's the only goal, despite other...
And Martin Tyler.
Well, Newcastle play their big card. Whether it'll be a trump card, we wait to see. The big Scot, Duncan Ferguson, is coming on for the second half in place of Didi Hamann, who's got a hip injury. That will necessitate a change in another part of the team. But Duncan Ferguson has hurt Manchester United in the past. 6 appearances against them, 4 goals, including coming on here to help Everton win the cup at Manchester United's expense 4 years ago. How fit he is, well, you will judge for yourselves. He's going into hospital on Monday for another groin operation. I would suggest it's how fit he believes he is that holds the key to whether Ferguson can help Newcastle turn it round with the second half underway.
Well, all Newcastle fans hope he's fit enough, Martin, to rise to a cross and nod it in past Peter Schmeichel. That would be fitness enough. I certainly think he's fit enough to do that. But like Rodney said at half-time, now he's on. They need to provide him with some service.
Shearer can't chase that. Ferguson will be offside.
I think another thing that Newcastle didn't do enough was getting midfield players actually up, not only in contact with the front two, but past them. And I just think with Katzbaya now just dropping off, they've almost gone 3 narrow in midfield, which if they do that with Solano, Speed and Lee, it makes you wonder how on earth they're going to get the ball wide from there. And Katzbaya will be given that little free role to get forward and join the front two. It's going to be an interesting 45 minutes. Griffin is nowhere to go from here, but infield.
Well, Duncan Ferguson wins the header, and Alan Shearer's got some power up there with him, physical power.
I remember Manchester United going to Goodison, Martin, in a league match maybe a couple of seasons ago when Duncan was at his pump and his full power. And they played him, and they played him well, but what they didn't do was try and win the first header. They accepted that he might win the first header, but they would mop up and win the bits and keep him at the edge of the box. They did it very well on the night, I remember.
There was some speculation as to whether if Ferguson came on, Jaap Stam, who is a substitute for Manchester United today, would immediately be summoned to try and cope with that strong aerial power. Lee provides some power on the ground through the centre. There is no one wide on the right. Again, to emphasise Andy's point. Solano lurking left, but the pass gave him no chance. Lee. It's a bit better from Newcastle. Ketsbaia. Shearer's gone to the right. Ketsbaia has a crack, but it's hardly a cracker.
No, I just think Newcastle United owe it to the fans, Martin, to have a go. I thought their performance was very sterile last year against Arsenal, unimaginative. Didn't give any of these Geordie fans any hope at all. Shearer did hit the post, but I always felt Arsenal had a gear or two more to go up to if they needed it. And I just think 45 minutes here, the support that they've brought down from the North East deserves their team to really have a go at Manchester United.
Well, a year ago it was a second Arsenal goal by Nicolas Anelka that really killed them off. Manchester United looking for that position. But it was a strange first half in many ways. Now with the teams attacking the ends where their supporters are massed, there'll be an increase in the volume. And Duncan Ferguson guides it down. Solano coming in. That's the problem that Manchester United have got, and he might reach this. He's not going to pull out of a challenge for Schmeichel either.
Well, he's given a free kick, the referee, on the edge of the box. I'm not so sure it was. But the earlier headers are one. This is what I mean. They allow him to win that one. And what they're trying to concentrate on, they're saying, OK, you're not going to score from there, Duncan. And here's where he gives a free kick against them. I'm not so sure it was. But that's what they're saying. You ain't going to score with a header from the 18-yard line. So the theory is, defend the second ball. The trouble is then, if you just get off him a bit slacker and he finds himself 7 or 8 yards further in, then he can bury them from that sort of range.
Well, given the right sort of service, he is unstoppable.
I don't often agree with players that are unstoppable, but I think you're right in his case in the air. An awful lot of tall players I've known over the years don't really jump their height. Certainly couldn't be levelled against that guy. He does climb.
And certainly in 1999, Manchester United have been unstoppable. 31 games unbeaten, coming back to that home defeat by Middlesbrough in mid-December, leading Newcastle here in the FA Cup final. And Andy Cole trying to get some help from Solskjaer. Diggs, Solskjaer neatly to Sheringham. Good reach there by Dabizas. Just get the feeling we're moving into the real meat of the contest. Griffin.
Both sides attacking, well, respective ends as well. I think that always helps lift the game.
Cole using his strength against Xavi. Griffin scampering back. Andy Cole going on, looking for Sheringham. And at the boot of Nikos Dabizas. Speed. Solano just took his eye off the ball, but it ran on for Duncan Ferguson. Ferguson v Ferguson now. Speed. Shearer's disappointed. Port Neville gave Schmeichel a horrendous back pass in the first half, and that wasn't much better on the young left back getting his ears warmed by the goalkeeper's comments.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't just put his right foot through it and help it 60 yards forward.
Lee, a bit more composure in Newcastle's midfield, and then the ball for Duncan Ferguson. And Newcastle's attempts to get players around the knockdown, even if it doesn't come cleanly down, there might be some pickings there. Lee. Now Ketsbaia. Domi on the move from left back. Ketsbaia waiting for the moment to find the right sort of pass. There it is. Domi. Shearer and Ferguson, they've only started 4 games together since Duncan Ferguson moved from Everton back in the autumn. But what a partnership they could be if fitness can coincide, and Shearer's kept going without a great deal of support to get 21 goals this season. Solano, cleared by Gary Neville.
I'm not so sure who's Martin Ferguson. I don't think the Manchester United players know either. At that corner, they all had their players that they'd had in the first half. And suddenly, the most powerful header of the ball was unmarked.
Solano wants handball then, and he's got 30,000 Geordie voices backing him up. Peter Jones was unmoved. Domi. Straight ball for Duncan Ferguson, but he's won it. Shearer almost back to Ferguson again.
Brilliant defending. Ronnie Johnson took a gamble, Martin. He chanced his arm, but Shearer was going to repay Ferguson and play him in. But that was an opening.
Poor ball by Davizas, and Ryan Giggs on the sprint. Solskjaer and Sheringham can tee up Paul Scholes. 2-0.
Wrap it up for me. Wrap it up. Unbelievable. They've been on the back foot for the majority of the second half. Ryan Giggs chases a hopeful pass. This is not great defending. Knocking a ball back in there. Put it in Rose Ed, son. Keep it safe. But he keeps a ball in, doesn't deal with it. And what a lovely little touch from Teddy Sheringham. So aware of Scholes backing him up. And this young lad with an eye for goal loves this place so much. Fresh from a hat-trick for England, he's now added an FA Cup final goal to his tally. Well, every picture tells a story.
Well, Alex Ferguson told me before the game, the one I'm worried about is Paul Scholes. He's been very unwell over the past couple of days. He need not have worried. It's 2-0 now to the United from Manchester.
Well, if it was a mountain they were climbing, Martin, well, what is it now, before the game now?
Well, they'll need all the capacity to climb of Shearer and Ferguson.
Lovely setup. Look at Sheringham. He's saying, look, what do you want? What do you want? Who wants it? Hit it. Lovely strike.
But Sheringham standing there unattended. Davizas had gone wide and cleared it back into play.
Well, I think when you looked at the side, I said at the beginning there were 6 players. The back 4 and the 2 wide players really had to protect and play well. More blood shed on the battlefield, but he'll be happy to shed it, David Beckham, because that man's put his side, well, not an easy street, work to be done, but has given them a lovely cushion that any side being in the cup final would want.
Paul Scholes was a substitute when they lost here in '95, a substitute when they won in '96, Manchester United. And Alex Ferguson saying, I've got to play him today, for all sorts of reasons, but for warm, fatherly reasons as much as football reasons.
Big 10 minutes, Martin. Newcastle are to get back in the game.
He's coughing and spluttering. You know he's an asthmatic as well. Paul Scholes. Can Ruud Gullit do anything to change this?
Well, as I was saying, a big 10 minutes. I think if Newcastle are to do anything, they must get a goal back in the next 10 or 15 minutes of this football match.
Xavi with the free kick. Sailed over Duncan Ferguson that time. Cole. Oh, they've got runners on the right-hand side.
Oh, better ball in the run. They really are at times all over the place. Talk about ball watching. Every back 4 player, look at them. Everyone is right side of the pitch. And a better ball. Scholes is breaking. Solskjaer's breaking. That's the danger now for Newcastle United. Pushing forward, that they get caught with the pace of Cole and Giggs and Solskjaer.
Well, the Newcastle fans will remember a certain Charity Shield not too long ago, which finished Manchester United 4, Newcastle 0, and Dwight York, so disappointed not to be in from the start. Looks as though he's going to be involved in an FA Cup final for the first time in his life. And it's not a bad time to come on. Lee. Griffin.
One touch in from Rob Lee.
Schmeichel knocks it down for Ketspire, past the goalkeeper. David May was guarding the post. close as Newcastle have come by some distance.
Lovely ball in from Rob Lee. It was touched back to him from Griffin. One touch and in.
Giggs. Well, Newcastle have to go for it and take the risks that could mean a real heavy beating here. But could still, if they can get a goal quickly, get them back into this FA Cup final. Good defending by Xavi. In modern times, the big FA Cup final victories have come from Manchester United. 4-0 in a replay against Brighton, 4-0 against Chelsea. Steve Clarke on the Newcastle bench will remember that.
Well, this might be the big chance in the match that they needed to take. It's Alan Shearer who goes in and causes the problems. But is it the post? Is it both? It's the post. Just inside. I don't think David May was getting it. Well, it was the width of a post last year. It proved so crucial in the match. That time Shearer struck the post. Arsenal went on to win 2-0.
Ferguson has done that very neatly. Domi, Duncan Ferguson again, but it unluckily ran for him to Ryan Giggs and Beckham. And they are here for the taking on the counter-attack. Newcastle, you feel, that's very well reached by Dabizas. Not half. Griffith. Back to Lee. And from Rob Lee again, but didn't get the height. And David May dealt with it comfortably.
Dwight York still waiting, Martin stretching. Maybe that shot against the post just made Alex Ferguson just change his mind for a little bit and say, well, let's just hold on a minute.
Well, Newcastle must be wondering what they've got to do to score a Wembley goal. None here against Arsenal in the FA Cup, none in that Charity Shield that I mentioned against Manchester United. They go back to 74, they played in the FA Cup final and they lost 3-0 to Liverpool.
Do you want more bad news for the Newcastle fans? When was the last time Manchester United lost a 2-goal lead?
You tell me.
15 years ago.
Well, Dwight York will be coming on to try and add to that 2-goal lead.
Yeah, it's a half each for the duo almost. Sandy Cole's done his bit. And now Dwight York's first taste of what this competition's all about, really, the final. It's what it came to Manchester United to do.
Straight away. Put up by Shearer, free kick taken from the wrong position by David Beckham.
Well, it might be 2-0 up, but Alex Ferguson still has plenty to say. Out on the edge of the pitch, knows there's still some work to be done.
You don't get to the brink of a domestic double, you're taking things for granted, and still got a reasonable touch.
Are you sure? That was his left peg. He never had a reasonable touch for that when he played.
Only with his elbows, they tell me. It's a corner. It's very much uphill for Newcastle. making his run from the edge of the area. Scholes lurking with some intent. Giggs. Oh, it's a great cross, maybe a millimetre or so too high for Dwight Yorke to convert.
Absolutely right, that's all it was. Wonderful cross from Ryan Giggs. Andy Griffin trying to do his best, he can't stop him getting the half yard. Again, the marking is absolutely shocking. Middle of the 6-yard box. That should be better than that. And you're right, a foot lower, and it is 3-0.
Well, 20 years ago, Arsenal were 2-0 up against Manchester United, who got it back to 2-2 then. Still lost. Xavi. Giggs. Beckham's on the move through the centre. Yorke knew where Beckham was, couldn't quite find him. Sheringham backing up the play.
Well, there's gaps, Mark, at times, aren't there, at the back?
Huge gaps.
They're just punching holes right in them.
Yorke. And stemming the flow is hard enough for Newcastle, let alone trying to make inroads on the scoreline. Yorke can use Gary Neville. Scholes. For Yorke, Scholes wants it back, gets it back. Can he get another one here? Well, there's a deflection because Harper was going the other way and was relieved to see the ball roll wide of his left-hand post.
That would have been one of Wembley's great goals. The amount of passes and the movement that went into this, but once again, no one tracks the runner. He just got caught under his feet a little. Paul Scholes at the vital moment.
Beckham corner. Giggs! Goodness me!
Is that his right foot? He looks a little surprised.
Well, he vowed he would never take his shirt off in a celebration like he did in the semi-final.
Well, he might have done if this had gone in. That would have been one for the scrapbook. Difficult volley, watched it beautifully. Hit it beautifully. I said you watch goalkeepers, you know how worried they are. Steve Harper scrambling across his goal.
Lee. Sheringham just teasing it forward. Dwight Yorke is away, mistake by Dabizas. Giggs. Here's Solskjaer. Oh, and Harper's lost it. And now can get it right on the line, fighting each other almost for the right to make it 3-0 Manchester United.
Well, I think this should be dropped off to Scholes again. But again, they're just, I mean, who wants it? They're almost saying that. Look at Giggs, Solskjaer, they just drop it off edge of the box. Scholes right on the edge. Shot was poorly struck. Harper got his little bit of luck. Dominant, absolutely dominant at the moment, Manchester United.
Let's go to Clive Allen, who's down by that goal where Steve Harper is having such a busy time.
Well, Martin, I'm right in front of the goal here, and it's quite remarkable movement from Manchester United. Newcastle defensively have lost their shape, and you can only see more goals coming from the United front players. Quite exceptional interplay movement. Newcastle do not know how to stop it at this moment in time.
Clive Allen, right in front of the goal, did he say?
Again?
God, that's where he always was.
Well, Ruud Gullit has only previously lost one FA Cup tie as a manager, and that was against Manchester United, that 5-3 third-round tie last year when Chelsea, then the holders, were knocked out at Stamford Bridge. Alex Ferguson, about 20 minutes or so away from becoming the first manager ever to be in charge of 4 FA Cup winning teams. That is, unless Newcastle produce one of the miracles of the competition. The problem at the moment is limiting the damage. Sheringham. Charvet gets there.
Yet again though, Mark, I mean that ball's what, travelled 30 yards, 40 yards through the air, and Teddy Sheringham just unmarked, could have taken it in his chest, just nods a little ball to Ryan Giggs.
Griffin. Showing good ambition here, the 20-year-old. Ruud Gullit looks to make another substitution. Silvio Maric, the Croatian. He hasn't set the Tyne on fire since he came over the second half of the season. But he is a top talent. So much so that he interested Manchester United earlier in the season. He's on for Solano. Touch and now speed. Domi. Speed. Looking it through. Ferguson to catch fire.
Well, it only takes a second. You can dominate and dominate matches. But it only takes a second with someone at the edge of the box just to thrash at one and end up in the top corner. And that's what Manchester United have to be wary of.
7 clubs have lost successive finals in the FA Cup, including Newcastle, who will be hoping not to repeat their experience in 1905 and 1906. But I'm afraid it's looking more and more that way. Domi. Babizas, who hasn't had the best of seasons. Newcastle lost the services of Steve Howe, injured in the semi-final. Ferguson. Scholes. Still looking to be purposeful with the longer pass. Scholes made his against Gary Speed. Gary Neville moving forward from right back. York and Solskjaer in the centre. Scholes. Giggs. Chase it himself and hook it back across for Sheringham. And the goalkeeper did well, because if he'd been taken out by Teddy Sheringham's flick, then Steve Harper would have been well and truly stranded. He made sure he wasn't.
Yeah, he just hooks it back. He's not looking for anyone in particular. The goalkeeper did enough.
Headed by Johnson, who has a Wembley goal to his name in the Charity Shield against Ruud Gullit's Chelsea.
Again, that's getting in too easy for me. Far too easy. It's a good ball in, there isn't a doubt about that.
But isn't that the story of this FA Cup final?
Yeah.
At the start of each half, Newcastle have tried so hard to impose themselves, particularly in midfield through the work of Speed and Lee. They've got Shearer, and in the second half Ferguson to try and supply with crosses. They haven't been good enough at the back to keep Manchester United out. Here is Shearer looking to work a crossing position for himself. Denied that, and then denied a corner.
Well, he was a lot closer than you and I, that man there. He decided the last touch came off the Newcastle captain. It certainly looked from where I'm sitting as if this was a corner. Yeah, and that hasn't changed my mind.
Dave Batsky thought otherwise. Sheringham. He was asked to roll there because York was certainly a threat from the flick on. touch from Shearer. We talk about lack of width, Andy, for Newcastle, and even though both fullbacks are very inexperienced, and in Griffin's case, much more of a defender than who naturally wants to press on, despite that shot a moment or two ago. He's a very good young defender, Andy Griffin, even under 21.
He's trying to stem Ryan Giggs, man. That's the problem he's got. He knows that if he just bombs forward, Giggs can allow him just to run on to Phil Neville. And then he's thinking, oh my God, if we lose it, and Giggs is away tearing at us.
Still searching Rangers for their own treble. Kilmarnock in the league tomorrow, and the Scottish Cup final next Saturday, which you'll see live on Sky Sports.
And I think at some time, if it stays like this, Mark, then we'll see Jaap Stam on. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Like Dwight York, anxious to play in his first FA Cup final. I think Alex will maybe wait another 6 or 7 minutes to the last 10, and then say to this big lad, go on you go, sample a little bit of it.
He's got a heel problem. Stam. Well, 2-0 last year, 2-0 this year against Newcastle. This is how it happened.
Two lovely strikes, that's all we can say. First, Scholes feeds Sheringham. Thank you very much, he says. Second half, reverse. Sheringham feeds Scholes. Have that one on me, son, he says.
Shearer. Scholes it is to hoist it away. Beckham. Sheringham. There was no flag against Dwight York.
Yeah, it must have been close, right in line. And if he could have controlled that, then he might well have added to his League Cup goal.
Double 6-0, double 1, double 2, double 3. Your votes, I'm sure Man United fans will be phoning in their numbers with their preferred player. And what it has shown is it's not just a team success for Manchester United, it's a squad success. But Domi.
And that one's the other way. So I suppose
even the count.
One apiece there. Gary Neville looked to have tackled him beautifully here and just played it back against Didier Domi. There you go. May have come off his foot. Might well have got it just right. Close call.
There's still 15 minutes left. So Newcastle to change what's been looking inevitable, certainly since the second goal. And Schmeichel threw that dangerously near Harry Speed's head. Sheringham, Giggs. Goals. Sheringham trying to sneak down the left touchline for Manchester United. Others looking more centrally, like Solskjaer, who of course played a big part. The Liverpool game, the winner. We look back at key moments in a cup run. Liverpool could have knocked Manchester United out at Old Trafford as early as the 4th round. Even Middlesbrough in round 3 scored the first goal of that tie against them.
Well, they've certainly had to do it the hard way when you look at the teams they've beaten, Mark, and Liverpool, as you mentioned, Arsenal and Chelsea in there as well.
Beckham. Winding himself up. Put behind with a little bit of deliberation rather than just a straight deflection from Davy Zass.
Well, it looks like Paul Scholes to me.
Well, I think that's a factor with the illness that we talked about earlier. He's not been well, but goodness me, he must be feeling a great deal better now. He scored in the first FA Cup final that he started. And I think this substitution tells you that Alex Ferguson believes that the game is won. It's time to give Jaap Stam, as Andy's been saying, the chance just to sample what this great English showpiece is all around. Giggs, cleared by Ferguson, all the way up to Shearer. A bit of fortune in that. Kett Spires.
Well, I guess Ronnie Johnson, sorry Mark, will just drop into midfield now. I think May will probably play alongside Stam at the back, Ronnie Johnson in central area alongside David Beckham. I think you're right. I think Alex must feel the game's won. I can't believe he would take a chance. Not that he's taking a chance with Jaap Stam, of course.
Here comes Giggs. Sheringham looks for the chip. Oh, so unlucky, and how that style is in keeping with the way Manchester United have been playing.
Oh, they're probably absolutely destroying Newcastle at times, who's, I have to say, their defending has been absolutely abysmal at times. Lovely, exquisite little chip from Teddy Sheringham. So unlucky, he's been very involved in this football match. That's the measure of his confidence, attempting that.
In comes Stephen Glass. He's another of the Newcastle players who's only just regained some semblance of fitness after missing much of the running in the Premiership. Come on for Teemu Kett-Spires. Manchester United might react if Newcastle scored a goal. We're still wondering. And if further goals are to come, you fancy they will be at the other end. Johnson. Giggs. Trying to bend it in for York. That's well defended by Davizas.
Well, you haven't said that too often today. Well defended. Someone in a black and white shirt, but it was. The testing, and it's a probing cross. Certainly Dwight York saying it had to be dealt with. It was dealt with very well.
And they get a goal at St James's Park. A similar ball from Giggs for Andy Cole. York. Beckham. Well, the crowd enjoyed it, and it's at the stage where the game does have a bit of an exhibition feel to it.
Well, anything goes now, such is the confidence. Marked up, scarred, but he won't care.
She might.
Are you joking? When's the wedding?
I haven't had an invitation, Andy, but I'm sure you'll get one. Glass. Actually left-sided. Some promising moments since he came south from Scotland. Needs a good regular run in the team, you feel, to really test his potential. Be 23 tomorrow, incidentally, Stephen Glass, but it's not going to be a happy time for those connected with Newcastle United. And it's a great feat getting to the FA Cup final. When you do it 2 years running, it's tremendous, but when on each occasion you're up against champions and double winners, very hard to chisel out the right result and stop those doubles from taking place. But where there's life, there's hope for Newcastle, and there's Maric. Sheringham, York, how they're enjoying this, the attacking side of Manchester United, which we have seen plenty.
They do look a beaten side, Newcastle United, I have to say. Looking around, see if anyone's trying to G them up.
A little nervous swallow there by Ruud Gullit. A defeat to swallow. I thought that might have been a free kick to Manchester United. Peter Jones decided otherwise. 8 minutes left for Newcastle. And Duncan Ferguson to try and get this one down. Manage with him. Oh, and Maric is in! And he's put it wide.
Well, you can't miss chances like that in an FA Cup final when you're 2-0 down and expect to come back. Absolutely gilt-edged. He did very well just to knock it through. When it breaks him here, just edges it through. And then once in, he really must be hitting the target. It's composed, but he's well wide.
Well, Ketspire hit the post. Maric looked Peter Schmeichel in the eyes then, put it wide of the goalkeeper, but wide of the same post. Glass. Well, maybe it's still premature to start polishing those phrases of praise for Manchester United's season. Quite happy for the final whistle to go a bit early today. Ferguson. Glass. Over Shearer. Griffith. Feed it back here to Rob Lee. Newcastle got plenty of players in the centre. Stam.
Yeah, foul against Shearer, Martin, just nudging the back of Jaap Stam, the referee felt, as the cross came in.
What this match has shown is the adaptability of Manchester United to deal with difficult situations. Of all the problem of selecting a team today with next Wednesday in mind, and having picked it to lose the captain so early. The sun again shines on Manchester United.
Well, that was a turning error, wasn't it?
York. Beckham. Solskjaer. Newcastle gallantly trying to press through Maric and Lee. But Manchester United maintaining possession, maintaining the momentum. Slippery work from Giggs, producing the late challenge. Trying to set off early, and Ryan Giggs did have a look. The quick free kick wasn't on. Sheringham wants this one, far post.
I wonder if he'll hit it.
And Maric has slipped. It's not a good place to lose the ball. Johnson. The delight of his personal fan club. Domi finding the chest of Ferguson. Griffith. Speed. Pass drifting wide on the left. Much closer order. Lee was just bending down to do up a boot. And Newcastle didn't recognise that, and it's York behind Giggs, and ease it on to Sheringham. In danger of going offside. Oh, it's come for Giggs, has it? Not quite. Off Xhave.
Well, that would have summed up the day defensively, wouldn't it? With that drop to Giggs and he smashed it in.
Shearer. He was trying to get in between Stam and Philip Neville. Couldn't carry the ball with him.
Did well the fullback. Good position. Got his body in front of Shearer.
speed. Grabbing there, Ferguson on David May.
You see the left arm come up, there's a little bit of six and one, half a dozen of the other. As often happens, the benefit goes to the defender.
Well, lightning, it seems, has struck in the same place twice, to the detriment of Newcastle United.
Yeah, they've played two pretty good teams in the final, you have to say. Exceptionally talented teams. As you say, both were going for the double. Both look like they're going to complete it. And I think they've found United have just picked up the pace of the game today. They have been the dominant side. One or two scares from Manchester United, but you really felt that if at times if Newcastle United would have scored, then Manchester United might just have upped a gear.
Solskjaer.
Gears to go to.
Charvet in the nick of time, with 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go.
Whether he's just going to touch a cramp. Well, we're going to Solskjaer.
Ferguson. Just pulling wide to judge the flight of the pass. Speed. Now Griffin. Changed their manager, changed some of their players, changed their routine in the build-up to this game. It's going to be the same disappointing outcome for Newcastle. Teddy Sheringham has come from the bench to be the man of the match in the 1999 FA Cup final. Tom Kirk of Brighton has a special souvenir, Teddy Sheringham shirt, which will bring back many memories of this particular day for a prize winner and player alike. Here is Sheringham.
And that just shows you what football's like. It's amazing, isn't it, Mark? A guy who wasn't even picked in the starting 11, off the bench, they have such a huge impact on this final. Maker of one, scorer of the other. What a day he's had.
2 minutes of stoppage time. Around with 10 men, Manchester United. Solskjaer trying to get back on the pitch. Ferguson. Domi. Maric. For Griffin. Prepared to take on Philip Neville. Fire it across, and
that's a save, Martin. That's a save.
Crushed the fingers of Peter Schmeichel. He was thinking the referee had blown the final whistle.
He goes across, and there's the fingers yet again. The big goalkeeper.
Back in by Ferguson, but the big goalkeeper is there again. His last game for Manchester United in England. One more final to come. Just an unbelievable way to finish service for the club. May. Solskjaer. Not getting much support for Manchester United there, waiting to greet the final whistle. It has been said that this domination may not be good for the game, but I would put another argument: when the standards are this high, it's up to the others to match them and overtake them. That's what happened when Liverpool were doing it all those years, and Manchester United rose to the challenge in the 90s under Alex Ferguson. So to be supreme.
Someone must always be the benchmark, Martin. For years it was Liverpool. Now it's that man's team setting the standards that others at the moment, with the exception of probably Arsenal, can only admire.
Manchester United add the FA Cup to the Premiership. FA Cup number 4 for Alex Ferguson. That's a record, and United's class of '99 are a class apart. The domestic double for a third time in 6 seasons. 2 down, 1 to go in this glorious attempt at this unprecedented treble. Great individuals, a terrific team, whatever team the manager chooses to put out, and the backup emphasised today when the man of the match is a substitute, Teddy Sheringham. Newcastle come second at Wembley for the 2nd successive year, and their misfortune to meet champions of the highest calibre on both occasions. But it's Teddy's tale at Wembley. 96 seconds after coming on a day that Ruud Gullit approached with great optimism, that he had built a team to take on the might of Manchester United. And when Roy Keane went off, although he would have felt for Keane, he might have felt that his team had a better chance. Sheringham immediately showed otherwise, helped by Paul Scholes. The compliment returned in the second half for the goal that really made the outcome a formality. There's almost too much history made here to take in straight away. 32 games unbeaten, stretching back to before Christmas. No wonder they take their bows. An irresistible blend of high-grade home produce and admirable acquisitions mixed together by a manager whose marvellous motivational skills have survived, even sharpened at a time when the power of the players themselves has grown considerably. Well, they finished out on top at Old Trafford last Sunday. Wembley winners today. And now beware, Bayern Munich in Barcelona on Wednesday for the jackpot in the treble chance. Andy Gray.
Well, they were just too dominant for me, Martin. They're an awesome side. Way ahead of most other teams in this league at the moment. And personnel and quality, as I said, with possibly the exception of Arsenal. And they were just too good for Newcastle United on the day. Too many things that needed to happen for Alan Shearer, Rob Lee and their teammates just didn't happen. They needed to defend well, they didn't. And when Manchester United went 1 up, I just felt there was no way back for Newcastle United, and that's how it proved.
Well, Newcastle trudge up to collect their mementos of the day, while Manchester United continue to celebrate. Nick Collins, who's got Teddy Sheringham with him. Nick.
Well, Teddy, congratulations. It wasn't quite your first touch, that goal, but you hadn't been on long, had you?
No, it's all right. It's amazing the way this game changes about. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down, and you never know what's going to happen next in football.
When you weren't chosen initially, what was your thoughts?
Well, devastated. Devastated. I'm 33 now. You don't think you're going to get another chance, and you want to play. It would have been harsh on the other lads to be left out after playing so well all season, but, you know, I mean, it's a manager's decision. He's chopped and changed the last few games, and you just live in hope that you're going to get the nod.
It's a really well-taken goal as well, isn't it? One that you'll always be able to treasure.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. Took a little deflection, but I'm still claiming that. Don't worry about that.
And then you repaid the compliment by helping Paul Scholes.
Yeah, that's right. We needed that second goal to take the pressure right off, and once that come in, you know, we was home and dry, really. We just had to keep working hard, and we knew he was going to come through.
A week ago, no medals. Now you've got 2.
I know, that shuts a few people up, though. Here's to the Gooners. Beautiful.
Theme going as we pay our condolences to Newcastle, but Manchester United, Alex Ferguson, the manager, is with George Gavin.
Alex, the first club to win the double 3 times. What does that mean to you?
It's fantastic for the club. The players are marvellous players. Brilliant.
And you, as a manager, have won the FA Cup 4 times. No one's done that. Is that special?
I'm pleased, I'm proud. I'm proud of everything we've achieved.
Where did you win the game today, Alex?
Pardon?
Where did you win the game today?
Well, I think we got a break of the goal in the sense that we're trying to reorganise. I wasn't sure what to do, whether to bring on Jesper or to go for it. I just felt that with Teddy come on, I've got 3 front players who can score a goal, and of course Scholes who can score also. I went for it that way, and Teddy was magnificent. I think that was a decisive factor. I think he was the key to it.
Thanks very much, Alex.
Well, let's spell it out for you again, these unique achievements. Alex Ferguson's 4th FA Cup win as manager, an all-time record. The first club to win the FA Cup 10 times, the first club to do the double 3 times. Roy Keane played only a minor part today, but he limps up to collect the FA Cup, making history today in so many ways. Manchester United. Still one more challenge to come, but what a year 1999 has been. Since it began with the start of this FA Cup run against Middlesbrough, they have regained their place as the standard bearers of the English game, under tremendous competition from Arsenal. At the turn of the year, much talk that Europe was the major goal, the Holy Grail, but these players have not taken their eyes off the ball domestically. Some new to the camp, like Teddy Sheringham, who come to be part of a winning scene, and their personal ambitions added further fuel, and other players who've been around for some time who were stung, like Ryan Giggs, by losing out to Arsenal a year ago and badly wanted back their position of prominence. There have been some wonderful Manchester United sides of the past, and this team have yet to emulate the boys of '68 in winning the European Cup. They now have that chance, but many long-time United observers have already labelled these players as the supreme example of what this world-famous football club is all about. Let's hear from Peter Schmeichel with George Gavin.
A magnificent achievement, another double for you today, and probably your last match in England for Manchester United.
Yeah, it was a hard game. It was, you know, the sun was up, the pitch was very, very firm, and I thought at one point we looked really tired. In Newcastle, I thought they put so much pressure on us, and to stand here, you know, winners of the game is fantastic, because I thought it was so difficult.
What kind of frame of mind are you in now for the European Cup final?
Very happy. I'm very optimistic.
No chance of changing your mind about staying? He's off.
I think George has asked that question one too many times. Well, Newcastle are taking their leave. They've been twice runners-up in the Premiership in recent seasons, now twice in quick succession in the FA Cup. The 90s, you have to say, in that respect, a vast improvement on the previous decade. But the Toon Army, impatient for the club they adore, to make that last step from being in the frame to finishing in first place. New manager, many new players and more to come, but the records of this and last season for Newcastle virtually identical. Well, when they write the definitive book about football management, this fella will surely be mentioned on every page. It was interesting, Andy, what he said about the decision about the substitution. We were playing manager up here and trying to do it, if you like, the orthodox way, and he said, well, we're going to have a go for it.
That's when that wonderful word luck comes into him, Martin. He has immense talent, that man. I think if he does it Wednesday, he might well go down as the best ever. It's very close now, if not there. I think Wednesday night would just put the icing, or just put the cherry on the icing on the top of that cake.
Glory, glory, Man United. That's what they're singing, and it could not be more apt. The lovely problem Alex Ferguson has, trying to pick a team for each game. But whatever the circumstances, and these were difficult today, with the Keane injury, the illness that they kept secret in the team hotel over the last couple of days. That was a big worry as the players got off the bus as to whether their hearts were ruling their heads, and the four who'd been particularly affected maybe shouldn't be sent out, but they were, and no harm done. Another trophy won.
Well, this is why this is a place for winners, Matt. Just the scenes around you. And it doesn't matter how many times these players will do this in the future or have done it in the past, because the next time is better than the last.
Well, Ryan Giggs was the one who told me back in February, no priorities for us, we want to win everything. He's now talking to us down on the touchline with Nick Collins.
Well, Ryan, congratulations. It looked fairly easy, but was it?
No, it was always going to be hard. I think it helped when we got the early goal. We could just keep it, and it's a hot day, and it's hard to close down in this kind of weather. So all we had to do was keep the ball then, and then try and hit them on the break.
The game couldn't have got off to a much harder start for you, losing your captain Roy Keane so early on.
No, that's right. I mean, I mean, Keane's been brilliant all year, and to lose him was disappointing. But it's a squad game now, and the lads who come in do brilliant.
2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're all looking forward to Wednesday. Hopefully we can do it.
All right, thanks, Brian. Dwight, you got on for the last half hour.
It's just been brilliant. It's just nice to get on, you know. The gaffer said to me earlier on, well, he's going to use a tactical, he's going to rest me for the game on Wednesday. So I understand that, but all we were concerned here is getting the result, which we're all delighted about.
This momentum just keeps going, doesn't it? 2 trophies down and on to Barcelona.
Man, you can't describe the feeling. The feeling is just wonderful, as I say. It's just been long coming, you know. This is what football is all about. We work hard throughout the season. The lads been tremendous all season, so do fans, and it's just nice to be part of it.
Go and enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you.
Well, wonderful scenes for Manchester United. And the party will go on for as long as Alex Ferguson allows, and I'm sure it'll be maybe a more controlled celebration than they had earlier in the week after winning the Premiership. Adding to the Premiership, the AXA-sponsored FA Cup. Well, they're not heading for the exits, but the other half of the stadium pretty empty. 1 or 2 staying to witness it, maybe aware of the sense of history, even when your team has lost. The might of Manchester United, what they're capable of achieving if they complete the treble. They will go down as surely the greatest of great teams out of Old Trafford. Andy, how long can you enjoy this before your mind turns to playing again on the Wednesday?
Tomorrow morning. I think I'll give them tonight. As I say, it'll be, as you said quite rightly, it'll be controlled celebration. I just think that Alec will let them enjoy their lap of honour, and they'll let them enjoy their dressing room and a nice meal tonight. But then it'll be focus time again, and they can do it, Martin. That's why they've been so successful over the years. That's why they've been immensely successful this year. Their ability to focus, regroup and go again for another big game.
Well, in Euro 96 we talked about the SAS of Sheringham and Shearer. Well, today it's been a Manchester United SAS of Sheringham and Scholes. They got the goals, and Manchester United have beaten Newcastle United by 2 goals to 0.
Martin and Andy Gray, thank you very much for watching that history being made this afternoon, the record books being rewritten this afternoon. Frank McClintock, Lou Macari, Rodney Marsh and Clive Allen. First word to Lou Macari. The best ever at Old Trafford, Lou, or not yet?
Not yet, Richard, but they were wonderful today again. I mean, it was too easy for them. And the Manchester lads there are talking about a difficult game. It wasn't difficult at all. Once they got in front, they never looked like losing the game. Well on top. Unbelievably poor marking from Newcastle at times. I mean, they put the ball into the box. It always fell to a Man United player. Sheringham was wonderful. Scholes did his usual. the cup's going back to Manchester.
Frank McClintock's done the double. The only way to better it is to come back and do it again, Frank, and then again, and then go on to win the European Cup. I mean, it is just quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh, it'd be wonderful. You can't believe how marvellous these players must feel. I must admit, it seems to be getting, I know it seems ridiculous, a little bit easier winning the double than what it used to be. I mean, they had a magnificent challenge in the championship. That was a titanic battle, that was. But today, I agree with Lou. I thought that apart from isolated attempts at goal by Newcastle, Man United did this game after 15 minutes completely sewn up. It was so one-sided in my opinion. Newcastle defence were like the Fox and Goose pub team at times, you know? I mean, we're so far adrift from the forwards, I couldn't see them, unless a miracle happened, I couldn't see them getting back in the game.
Who have made the long trek south for the second successive year, and they go back beaten again. But what have we seen here from Manchester United, Rod, today?
Well, I've got to say, Richard, that if they do go, I don't want to go too far forward because they should enjoy, I mean, Dwight York coming as a substitute, they should enjoy the celebrations today, but I must say that if they do beat Bayern Munich, for me, they will go down as the best Manchester United team of all time, possibly the best English team of all time.
But they've got to beat Bayern first.
I would say so, yes.
Clive, you sat behind the goal for the most part, a different atmosphere entirely to that we've experienced here today. What was that like?
Well, initially it was a ferocious start from Newcastle. Some of the tackling was very, very hard, and obviously Roy Keane then left the field. You wonder if it was going to swing in their favour because of that. But no, what does Alex do? He never gets it wrong, or to this point he hasn't got it wrong. And he showed again the great strength and quality they have within depth of their club, the great character they have as well. Once they got in front, you couldn't see Newcastle scoring. In the second half, Richard, they tore them apart. Newcastle's defence were all over the shop, and it really got to a stage where it looks like they could have scored at will. Fantastic performance.
Do you know what, Clive, as well? I don't think, Richard, there's ever been a manager that's had a perfect season. Perfect in every way. I think Alex Ferguson is very close. Again today, Sheringham comes on, man of the match, wins the game for Manchester United. Alex Ferguson is very close to having a perfect football season.
Didn't like to interrupt your flow, Rob, but that was a lovely shot of Sir Bobby Charlton.
Yeah.
I wonder what was going through his mind. Can they emulate the school of '68? There he is. 2. 1 to go. To go down as the best ever at Old Trafford. Well, fantastic. You say it gets easier to complete the double, Frank. But if you ask those guys out there, they tell you it doesn't.
Oh,
let's just pause for a minute. Let's go pitch side again. Here's the Neville brothers.
Hold the cup up then, Phil. Let's see it between the two Neville brothers, and 3 double thing in the 90s for Manchester United. But is that as sweet as ever?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think it's always the next one that's the best. And you know, we've had to beat some great teams this year, especially to win the European Cup, the FA Cup, sorry. And you know, we've beaten another great side today in Newcastle. You know, Arsenal have been great. You know, players in the Championship. You know, but we've come out on top in both competitions.
Gary, we heard there was a virus going through the camp, and you might have been affected. Was that at all a reason why perhaps you started slowly today?
I don't know, it's difficult to play on Wembley, it's difficult to get your passing going, the pitch is a little bit sticky, but I think once we got the goal it settled us down a little bit, and I thought, to be honest with you, the chances that we had, we deserved to win the game.
Just one final question, does that set you up for the treble?
Yeah, it's you know, we can go to Barcelona now and really enjoy the occasion. It's the biggest game of our lives.
Okay guys, well done.
Well, we wondered how long before they started thinking about the European Cup. Well, plainly Phil Neville already is. He's already won it in his own mind, Louis.
It won't be as easy as today, Richard. Today was a stroll for them. Bayern Munich obviously were a lot better organised. They'll have a game plan. I couldn't see what Newcastle's game plan was today. It just seemed 11 individuals out there. And of course, Man United were well on top for most
Sorry,
of the
Rod,
game.
let's just pause again. Word for the Geordies. Gary Speed is with Nick Collins.
Gary, hard luck. How long is it going to take to get over that one?
Well, we'll have to get over it next season. You know, we can't dwell on it. Obviously disappointing. More disappointing in the respect that we thought we could win and we were full of confidence.
Does the side look more positive going into this final than last year?
Yeah, that's what I just said. You know, we really felt we could win it and we were full of confidence, whereas last year maybe we weren't. So it makes it even more disappointing.
You started brightly and yet they got the early goal.
Yeah, it was the story of our season really. We've been letting in early goals all season, but as you said, we started brightly. And you make mistakes against Manchester United, they punish you, and they did that today with 2 mistakes from us.
Even in the second half, you came out fighting, Duncan Ferguson on, it looked good for a few minutes, and then they hit you again, didn't they?
Exactly the same, yeah. You know, we had a good start to the second half, come close a couple of times, and then, you know, another mistake, we gave the ball away, and Paul Scholes scored again. And to be fair, Manchester United were quality today, and you know, we can't say nothing about that.
I mean, Newcastle have lost to 2 sides in a row now that have done the double. It's wrong place at the wrong time almost, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but we've got to hopefully make us stronger, and next season it'll make us a better team. And we've got to look at Man United, and that they're our benchmark, you know, and we've got to be as good as them. And with the players that we've got here, then and the players that might come in, then hopefully we can achieve that.
Do you think they will now do the treble?
I hope so, yeah.
All right, Gary, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that.
Very difficult. Very well done. Gary Speed, representative from Newcastle United, skipper last year when they got done 2-0 by Arsenal, who completed the double. Same outcome this year. Clive, you've been here and lost on an occasion like this. That's not easy, is it, to come out and talk about?
Not at all, no. I think he's done particularly well, and I think everyone now really, I feel, in English football should get behind Manchester United, because it would be a quite remarkable feat to win the treble. There's absolutely no doubt about that, and this is a side capable of doing it.
And it may never, ever, ever be achievable again. And when they read the history books, rather in about 20 years' time, they'll look back and say, cool, what a team that must have been.
We were talking about that, Richard, weren't we? But the thing about Manchester United is, I was just going to mention it, and Gary Speed actually mentioned it himself. What Manchester United have done, Richard, is they've raised the bar on the standard of which we now have to compete. Now, I think they've taken it higher than Liverpool made it. And everybody now will be judged against this Manchester United team and the success that they've had.
And nothing wrong with that, Lou. If they're the best, as Martin said in commentary, it really is up to the rest to get up there with them, isn't it? If they're raising standards, that's good.
It certainly is. It'll be difficult for the rest to get up there, Richard. Not only have they got a fantastic team, but when you look at all the players, you've just seen the Neville brothers being interviewed there. They all look good characters, which is a part of football as well. Down-to-earth lads who look as if they're out there to die for Manchester United. No big heads, no prima donnas, just lads who want to go out there and run around, and they will run around the way they've done today, probably for the next 5 or 6 years.
Paul Scholes got the second goal. He's with George Gavin.
Paul, congratulations. I think it's your first start in a cup final, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. I think it's my 3rd time and my first start, so I was happy to get a goal and a win.
When the first goal went in, was it always going to be Manchester United's game?
I don't know about that. With 1 goal in front, you know, it's always going to be close. But we did need a second and maybe more, but thankfully we got that.
And you've kept up where you left off for England. A hat-trick for England, a goal here today, set up by Teddy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great layoff from Teddy. I just hit it, and thankfully it went in with my left foot.
You can rest up now, can't you? Because you have to put your feet up for Wednesday night.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I'm suspended, so I'll be right behind the lads.
Do you think they can do it against Bayern Munich?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We've proved this year with Cole in York. We're a very good team. We're capable of scoring goals, so hopefully it'll carry on.
Double for Manchester United. Will they be as dominant next season again, do you think? Anyone can stop them?
Who knows? You never know. There's a lot of good teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, so you never know. Hopefully it will be, but who knows?
Great day for you today and the team. Well done, Paul. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Paul Scholes or Alan Ball? Struggling there to find his voice just for a little.
Yeah, must have been doing plenty of shouting there.
Just a hint in the interview with Dwight York earlier. I understand now why, he said. Plainly very, very disappointed not to start, although he will on Wednesday night, it seems. But he's got his medal anyway.
I would think that would be a certainty, Richard, that will start on Wednesday night. And unfortunately, the odd man out might be Teddy. Man in the match at Wembley, missing in the European Championship final. But that might be the case.
Who knows? And does it really matter? Because they keep winning, unbeaten now in 32. Here's David Beckham with George Gavin.
David, trophies come Manchester United's way regularly now, but how sweet is this one?
It's as sweet as every other one that's been, you know. It was important for us to do well today and win the game, and which we did. You know, maybe we didn't play as well as we could have done, but, you know, we got the result. And, you know, Newcastle worked hard and they're a great team, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're champions and winners.
The benefit of your fiancée in the crowd, how bad is that injury on your lip?
I'm sure she won't find it a problem.
You can still give her the odd kiss or two, I should.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
And today has been great. Can you go on and make the treble on Wednesday night?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we've got another chance to win a big game on Wednesday, which we've got to concentrate on it the rest of the week now.
All the very best, David. Thank you.
The double. again, 3 times now for Alex Ferguson and his team, and what a team from Old Trafford. Champions last week, FA Cup winners today, and possibly the champions of Europe on Wednesday night. A week today, incidentally, attention turns to Hampden Park when Celtic play Rangers, who are chasing their own version of a treble. Rangers, the Scottish FA Cup final, of course, I'm referring to. That's next Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sky Sports 3. And then we're back here at Wembley for 3 really big games. Saturday, 2:30, Sky Sports 2, the 3rd Division playoff final between Leyton Orient and Scunthorpe United. Next Sunday, 2 o'clock on 2, the 2nd Division playoff final between Gillingham and Manchester City. So the other half of Manchester gets its turn at Wembley. And then on Bank Holiday Monday, 2 o'clock, it's Bolton against Watford for the last place in the Premiership next season. We are not finished yet, not by a long way. There's a lot of celebrating to do for Manchester United, a lot of thinking to do for Newcastle United. But the men from Old Trafford have done it again. We'll be back at Wembley next with more reaction.
In the beginning.
I diddly ho, Paradise Dweller.
It's Adam and Eve.
God made you out of my sexiest rib.
Getting fruity.
God's going to be furious.
You're pretty uptight for a naked chick.
Fast track to Sin City.
I love you because you kill people. I'm all washed up. I guess it's up to Ralph to stop Goliath.
Ralph's gonna kick his, well, maybe David.
This time, it's biblical.
Thank God for a brand new Simpsons, Sunday from 6, Sky 1.
Say hello to the new Ericsson T18 with voice dialing and active flip.
The remarkable Mitsubishi Galant displays some surprisingly human characteristics. Its passive rear-wheel steering acts instinctively to keep a firm grip on the road, whilst its climate control system stabilizes the temperature to within a fraction of a degree. And the revolutionary automatic gearbox actually learns your individual driving style and adapts to the road conditions. The new Mitsubishi Galant, reinventing the wheel.
Oh, Carly, 3 groats.
Oh, but I've only got one.
1 groat gets you this.
You got any leeches for this?
Ah! Oh, Carly, 3 groats.
What about 1 groat and a turnip?
Done.
You got any leeches for this?
Ah! Hey, what's going on? What a difference a carling makes. Wasn't that offside?
What's offside?
I don't know.
Protector 3D. The optimum balance of safety and closeness. From Wilkinson Sword.
What good is a van that's impractical?
Look at my shoes! Where's my cup of tea?
Or a van that lacks the right equipment?
I'll be there in a minute!
No good at all, which is why this van isn't one of ours.
What? Look at the bumpers on that, eh? No, that is nice. That's what I call a van, mate.
LDV, not just vans, great vans.
Cheers! What was that? That was cold.
Gentlemen, let me explain. I'm a freelance scientist. It's technically known as a judder. When the chill filtered snaps in nets is served just above freezing, it kind of monkeys around with the body's periodontal atrium.
I think I've just had my first judder.
Best of all, it's totally humane. Well, almost.
For the second year running, Orange have been ranked as the UK's #1 mobile telephone service in a customer satisfaction study by JD Power and Associates. But rest assured, we're not going to stop there. Orange, the network that performs.
Get the Carling Football Stuff catalogue, and you can pick up lots of stuff. It's like a team bus for the year.
Wembley Stadium, the scene of another historic afternoon for Manchester United, who have completed the double for the third time. Championship last year, the FA Cup last week, the FA Cup today, and as we've said, possibly the European Cup on Wednesday night. Thanks to James Peplow, who's been up and circling around Wembley all afternoon, providing some terrific shots for us. Well, an hour and a half or so ago, 2 hours, they were on their way in, with great expectation to the right of the picture amongst the Geordies. And some concern, no doubt, amongst the Manchester United fans, but no need, because they have won here by 2-0. Frank McClintock, Lou Macari, Rodney Marsh and Clive Allen have been with us all afternoon. Frank wants to qualify what he said about the double being easier to win. He didn't quite mean that, Frank.
Well, wasn't it? You actually had to go to a shot. What I meant is that I think certain teams in the last few years are starting to dominate English football especially, whereas as you said before, it was 3 times in 90 odd years winning the double.
3 times.
Three times, and all of a sudden it's been won by Arsenal, won by Manchester United twice, 3 times. There's certain teams dominating it, which is a little bit concerning actually, I think, you know, for English football. They're just getting a little bit too strong. They're almost like a dynasty now, Manchester United. Even if Teddy Sheringham hadn't have come on today, they could have probably brought another 2 substitutes on. And probably still win the match as well.
He wasn't saying that last year when Arsenal did the double, was he?
No,
no problem with that last year.
Before the game today, Richard, I said that if Newcastle had any chance of winning today, 2 things had to happen. They had to have massive luck, and their back 4 players had to be brilliant, and they had neither.
Extraordinary afternoon. Let's look back on, well, a remarkable 90 minutes or so for Manchester United, and a very, very harsh 90 minutes again for Newcastle United, who came here really believing that after last year's disappointment they could beat Manchester United. But in truth, Rod, I don't think they ever really looked like that was going to be the case, did it? Roy Keane injured inside the opening 6-8 minutes or so. And that turned the game, ironically, didn't it?
I tell you what, I saw United play against Middlesbrough, and Roy Keane had exactly the same tackle. He got side down like that, did his ligaments, and he did it again today. And of course, Sheringham comes on.
96 seconds after coming on, look at the impact he had. Player you know very well, Frank. You had him at Millwall.
Yeah, I had him at Millwall, took him to Forest and to Tottenham Hotspur, and I think he's an outstanding player. I think if he'd been with most other Premiership teams, he'd be a regular first-team player. He hasn't got any pace. He's got wonderful vision, lovely touch,
brilliant,
lovely goal. It was an absolute beautiful pass at with 5 goals, and they read each other well. I mean, Teddy Sheringham's record before he went to Manchester United was usually about 25 to 30 goals a season, both with Millwall, with Tottenham Hotspur and with Nottingham Forest, and created stacks of goals for other people as well. But he can get in this team. That shows you how good they are.
Solskjaer, disappointing today. Chance there to have scored, but not the sort of afternoon that he'll remember. He's got his medal, but his contribution he won't remember too much of, I wouldn't have thought, Clive.
Possibly not, but still an amazing result for them. You know, even Coley, I think he just lost his footing there, his left foot slipped. But really, it was.
It's a good save by Schmeichel.
It's a great save. I'm right behind it, Richard, and that dipped right at the last minute. And really, again, Schmeichel was so focused once again. He's called upon to make saves, and that's exactly what he does. But they had so many chances.
So that happened, yeah, Clive. I mean, that's just an orthodox cross, and the centre half's are the wrong side of the player.
Look at the goal. The centre half, Frank, where he ends up, he's on the corner flag. Look, and they're completely, you know, nowhere near people.
Rosette, as Andy always says, they can't score when it's up there.
That's right. Do you know what disappointed me, apart from, you know, I think Newcastle fans are absolutely fantastic. They deserve a better team than this, don't they? They come down, they support their team, and you watch that. I have watched
Newcastle 3 times now, and they don't look like a football side to me. They look individuals. They all play as individuals. There doesn't seem to be a pattern of play as yet. Maybe it's because there's been a lot of players came this season and they haven't settled down yet. But it certainly is a little bit worrying if you were a Newcastle fan thinking, well, are they going to improve at least 50 or 100% next year? Did you see Scholes' challenge there? He scored at one end. You watch the way he throws himself in front of this. Look at that. That won't go in. Even if the shot is on target, that will not go in because Scholes has thrown himself across it. And that's the difference, I think, Richard.
And again, look at the marking there. That's diabolical marking.
We've mentioned the marking, Richard, but at the other end, the front two of Newcastle were poor as well. Alan Shearer, Kit Spire, never looked as if they were going to cause any damage. I was very disappointed in Alan Shearer.
No service at all, then.
Although you don't get service, Rod, you can actually involve yourself in the game a little bit more. And I didn't feel that either of the two of them up front, Alan Shearer or Kit Spire, got involved.
And then they're setting each other up again. Clive, behind the goal there. That's
I couldn't believe
comical goal of the decade if that goes in, but it's on the way, isn't it?
It's as if he's not allowed to touch it anymore. The goalkeeper, had he not dived on it, it would have rolled over the line.
Well, that practice game, you have 2 touches, you can't touch it again, innit?
That was
brilliant, wasn't it? Showing it, brilliant.
Knew you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, it's lovely skill.
The goalkeeper, Harvey, came around the back of the goal just after that. He had a real wry smile on his face because he knew he was beat, all ends up. Really was incredible.
This was a great chance too. Ferguson's little header there. He's got to score there, Richard. That has got to be a goal.
He's got to hit the target.
That's got to be a goal. And there you see him, greatest manager of all time.
Straight to the skipper, who of course misses out on Wednesday night and did ironically here, but got his hands on the FA Cup nevertheless. Roy Keane, you beauty. Now for the treble. I wonder. Well, they've certainly made it 2 out of 2. Newcastle United beaten again for the 2nd successive season at Wembley. Different manager. Here he is, Ruud Gullit.
Ruud, what was the main lesson you feel you learned today?
Well, you can't make the mistakes that you made today, especially the second one. On a moment that you had a little bit of grip, you had the game in your hand, you were trying to push, and yeah, you make a mistake, and they punish it immediately, and that killed off the game for us.
Both times, in fact, you got punished at a time when you were doing well.
Yeah, but that is the difference between them and us. I think that they overall have so much quality that they always can decide which moment they're going to score a goal, and I think they all work very hard for each other, and yeah, they're a quality team.
Did you feel that your key players had to be at their very best for you to have a chance today?
No, not only the key players. I think the whole team had to be on its best, but I think that that we were at their best today. You could see that, and sometimes nervous, sometimes we could just hold the ball, and we didn't do that. And I think they have the quality with movement that is better than ours, but that's why they also play for the Champions League final.
Will the club get over this one quickly, do you think?
Yeah, of course. We know where our weaknesses are, and we do our best to get strengthened in, to get new players in, and then we start off from scratch.
All right, Ruud, many thanks. Cheers.
Very difficult for them, very, very hard to swallow, beaten twice in successive years. But was there more encouragement in losing, more hope in the performance today rather than there was 12 months ago?
Was there more encouragement? I thought today they were very poor. I think Newcastle won't finish in the top half of the table next year. I think Gullit will lead the football club, and they've got to rebuild.
Well, that's what they started to do under him, for goodness sake, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I just have the feeling that he's had enough, and he'll move on. The thing about today's game, Richard, was that Newcastle, after the first 10 minutes, they didn't compete in the football match. They got outplayed, they got outpassed. Manchester United won almost every second ball, and when you're playing against a world-class team, you have to be able to compete, and they couldn't.
We're here until 6 o'clock, still to come. The answer to Andy's quiz. Remember, 2 VIP tickets up for grabs for the Euro 2000 qualifier, and also the FA Cup Classic. And that's next.
The elite of English football reconvene as one. A unified force.
driven by a passionate leader, respond to a Swedish assault.
Sweden lead!
A single desire. In a game they must win. A nationwide international, England v Sweden, coming soon. Sky Sports 2.
He waits. That's what he does. And I tell you what, tick followed talk